Yo, my nerds, thanks everyone for watching and for tuning in. How's your day going, friends? Here's that VB heart symbol. We're gonna be recording that Shit Talking in Stations episode number 2. Also, this is our second stream today. We streamed earlier in the morning. Let's push that rifter. Swoosh. Swoosh. Man, is our chat plugin not working? What the fuck, lol? We're gonna have to fix that. How are you doing, boys? Drunken Giraffe, Marglor, Argle, Blargle, Sir Sirius, Not Epio, Yo, Miner, what's up? Xenotex, Drunken Giraffe, Colonoscopy, Rabishu, Člavickula. Yo, Rabishu was legit for us today, right? Wait, what the fuck, lol? This one. Man, oh! Our buddy just subscribed and the robot is not working. No. But yeah, Argle, thanks for the subscription. Man, I greatly appreciate it. Here's that heart symbol. It appeared that like the Twitch having some strange issues or whatnot. Let's swoosh it then. Thanks for carrying it. Swoosh. Swoosh. It was working earlier this morning, right? So it's like a thing. Yo, Irish, Miner, thanks for tuning in, friend. Wait, but how the fuck is that even a thing? I don't know what to say to that. But while we're rolling our intro for the Shit Talking Stations number 2, we're gonna be doing that Elite solo PvP, right? So let's go straight into the fucking dumpster.
Swoosh!
Yeah, so here's our comet. Let's go fuck around Warzone. Yeah, where's some killing? Man, they have Ashimus and shit. Oh man, they have a proper cruiser fleet. Damn, son. Okay, what's that Slicer doing? Maybe we can dumpster him. Man, the robot robbed him of his notification. Now I feel bad. It's genuinely not my fault.
Active.
Oh, yeah, let's see that Atron. Maybe we can, you know, get some fights and shit. It's all good, thanks, friend. Robots are taking over, yeah. Yeah, what's he doing? I think he wants to get dumpstered or what?
Warp drive active.
Yeah, Sarah Connor is gonna have to like save us from the Skynet. Okay, Dennis, what are you doing, son? Oh, he's going for the fight? Unbelievable. Oh, bless him. Okay, then. Yo, the game frog. Okay, he didn't. Not gonna make me eat paste. He needs to warp off. Yeah, GF. Oh well, bless his soul. Oh, the Slicer. He's next, legit. Come here, buddy. Yes. Yeah, I'm sure you wanna punch into a comet. You think he's gonna be dumb? I mean, if he wants to be dumb. Oh, who's that? Hey, Pyro, mine. Props to the Atron for sure. He reminds me of me. That's a super difficult fight for him. Who's that Slicer? I don't think he's gonna wanna punch into that. We'll just give him a second, just in case he wants to be dumb. So the real reason the hair got did because of the talk show episode, yeah, for sure, you know it. I got tricked into recording a podcast. It's totally not my fault. But we are starting it off with the killing, of course. Okay, let's go wrap our shit and then see what's going on.
Warp drive active.
Oh yeah, Irish, you know what's up. Exactly that. Bless him. Dennis, what's he even doing? That's a decent attempt with the two webs afterburner, right? I would probably fly the similar thing or the scram web. He managed to eat 1 out of 8 pace for his tank. Shit. Nerds. Nerds encompasses everything, right? Hey Johnny UK07, my nerd. Thanks for tuning in. How are you doing? Man, how's everyone doing? I hope you're having a good day. Do you have... Yes, I do. Let's get our Fartel and cock that slicer. What's he want? Okay, we're gonna reroll into medium range ammo, so that way he can eat shit. If the ammo ever unloads, lol. Yo, my dudes. Hey, I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. The game's all bugged out and shit. Good, man, thanks, fuck yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Ah, feels good. Hey, DU reroll. Slicer at the novice. Okay. Oh yeah, Comet, okay, then I'm gonna get my Comet, just chill there. Man, that changes so fast. Also, I should increment the good fights. 0 jumps, 1 good fight. That's like infinity ratio, right? Comet. Things. Okay. Here I go, killing again. Police on police violence. Living the dream. Fuck yeah, you know it. Okay, let's go fuck up that dude. What's he doing? It's time to bring out the master. Hey. Oh, what's that slicer doing? They wanna be cucks there. Yes, they do.
Warp drive active.
It's gonna be hairy. Oh yeah. They appear to be some kind of buddies. They're still gonna have to punch into the shitplex though. Send in your bravest warrior. I'll fight you 1 versus 3. Come here, Brittany. Let's see what they're fucking made of. Oh, wait, I need to unmute myself. Just give me a second after this fight. What? Yes, sure, yes. I was born yesterday. Hey, where's the rest of them? Hey, he appears to be eating shit faster than we are. He's gonna warp off! No! Okay, I think the rest of them wanna punch in. Pause out. Okay, let's go to the stick and connect ourselves to the TeamSpeak. We are gonna be recording our shit-talking station, so 2 jumps, 2 fights. Testing, is this thing working?
Adam.
Hey.
Summer Frankie.
Docking
3
request
minutes.
denied.
Okay. Okay, so we're just getting ready. Our good buddy Frank is just sitting there, and he's gonna join us in a minute, and then we can start recording our dank talk show. Man, we're getting so much action. Okay, let's wrap that shit and be all normal and whatnot. 1, 2, 3. Fuck yeah.
Whoa, dudes.
Docking
What up?
request denied.
Hello?
Yo.
Hello? Alright.
Do we hear each other?
Okay, we're ready, boys. Let's go to the JB Vision.
Swoosh!
I've myself. There's settings a bit, but should work. Okay, 2 minutes and we start. If you need to put on your like hot underwear, do it now.
Okay,
I
so
don't even have my pants on yet today.
oh, that's our good buddy DTM. We're gonna be talking about things and stuff, right? That's our favorite thing in the world. Here's the good agenda in that Twitch chat, right there, boys. So yeah, we're joined with JJ, Frank, and DTM. JJ literally carrying that thing. Like a week ago, we recorded the inaugural entry, and now we're gonna be recording the next one, right? So if you like a bunch of nerds getting all salty and talking shit, you're in the right place, boys and girls. Let's see if we can diagnose our Twitch chat plugin thing in the meanwhile. Bro, what the fuck's that thing doing?
Starting out recording now.
Fuck that chat
Did you
plugin
can
doesn't
record
work.
sound again too? Yes. Yeah. Just so we have backup.
Oh my dudes, thanks everyone for being here and getting together and wanting to do this. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait to shit talk. It's so fun.
Oh fuck yeah, that's a way of life. Man, do you think we need to implement a list of the dudes there? Okay, I'll list it.
We have 2 people recording. That should be enough to have some sort of recording.
Is this the voice from beyond? Lol. Okay,
Where's
we
this
need some
third guy?
text. Tall. Okay, how's that work? We say shit
Frank die yet?
talking in
We can start without him if he's still alive.
number 2
But, I mean, he probably won't be alive by now.
with JJ, Frank, DTM. Fuck yeah.
He somehow is alive. What the fuck is he doing?
Probably some memes, dude.
Yeah, good shit.
If it gets bad, I'm ordering a pizza on stream while we're all talking, and I'm only gonna try to use Eve terms to get the pizza delivered to my house.
Yeah, I've
double
increased
check
their
the
volume.
volume levels. I don't know how it will be if you're streaming.
Yep, I'm just calibrating that things.
Yeah.
That
Get
dude
it
sounds
started,
like I
no
feel on the
problem.
inside. Lol.
Oh, dude, I hope you guys are just gonna be loud as fuck compared to me. That's my goal. I'm loud in general, so.
Yeah, I run a compressor. It's impossible for me to be loud because it limits the.
I mean, if you run it through some equalizer, it will... Oh, I wouldn't do it.
Oh man, we just had 2 awesome fights. First Dumpster the Atron and then a Comet in a Comet. It's like so good. The El Clasico Comet versus Comet.
I've been having so much fun in the Rocket Garmer, dude.
Oh fuck yeah, that's such a strong ship.
Dude, people don't expect the double rep hull tank, dude. I don't really think they do. Be
Oh
like, I
yeah,
got
you
those
link that
shields."
fitting there. It's so good.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, here's Frank.
Are you alright, dude?
Fuck yeah.
What?
Troll.
Hold
Alright.
on. I'm soloing an Orthrus and a Succubus.
Fuck yeah. Keep up the great work, Frank. Write easy in local if you dumpster him. Yeah, I'm gonna light cigarette,
Activate
friend.
his Rapid Jesus missile.
Smoking is bad for your health. Don't ever do it, right?
Okay, so everyone is here. Everyone can hear everyone, I guess. Okay, so can we start now? Everyone ready?
Why aren't the rats? Thank you.
Because you didn't give them good fight.
Man, what
So,
time to be alive?
Ready, everyone?
Sure.
Yep.
Totally ready.
Okay,
Let's do this,
so
boys.
welcome to the second episode of shit-talking in stations with the same people as before. So the shit talk might sound a bit monotonous again. Well, whatever, we have new set of topics for this episode. All brand new because lots of shit happened last month. Well, we will get to it. Don't hold your shit still. Just don't let it explode yet. So, we can start
hear him
with the
normally.
biggest, fattest shit that happened recently that started big across the fucking community, and that's the okay, let's put it in quotation marks. Temporary cancellation of Alliance tournament and equally temporary cancellation of FanFest. Well, it won't be FanFest, it will be War Tour, and instead of all that shit, we will get balance. Well, I mean, like, there is the balance that's on the roadmap for this month, but it's not on the roadmap after this month, so maybe we'll see something by the end of month and that will be it for the year. But whatever, let's start with the AT. Okay, raise your hands if you believe that it's temporary.
I just want to start the podcast with saying that the last one we did, I think I felt like I left that one thinking there's no way this could get worse. There's no way that CCP could fuck up more. I just want to reference that. I made a mistake. I made a fucking mistake. I take it back.
Oh, bless you, I read, yeah.
By the way, how's the volume?
Looking good, sounding good, Frank. You're good.
Yeah,
Oh.
Frank.
Oh shit! I'm not on fucking push to talk. Hello.
Yeah, dude, you're sounding amazing, dude. Let's push to talk.
Yeah, there's no way it's coming back. It's like, bye bye, the ship has sailed.
Well, I mean, even if we believe it's temporary, what does it mean after the shit show that was the last AT? Can we really believe that AT will return in the way we remember it? That it won't be just some battle arena kind of thing?
Might be some bullshit like a Rorcal mining contest where no one can even lock up anyone and you need to buy lottery tickets from loot boxes to fucking join the tournament, right? Some shit like that, right?
I think that part of it, just to start, even before like looking at whether or not it's coming back, can we talk about how DCP just like continually fucking walks into the situation, right? And they continually like don't announce things when they should announce them. It's like they don't have a plan at all. It's like they're walking around blind in the dark, and like they just so happen to come upon this idea of like not hosting AT this year when it should have been announced after the last AT, directly afterwards. That way people don't waste their time. Same with FanFest. It's just, I don't understand it. I don't get the mentality behind it. Is that like an effect of not having a community team anymore, or?
I mean, the community team was Skeleton Crew last year already, and it really showed on AT, but okay, we still managed because mostly the AT was run by volunteers, by players, basically.
Yeah.
Just CCP just was there to drag us around on Thunderdome. I'm not even sure if it could be called CCP event, because they just like allowed people to log into the Thunderdome, and that was it. And
the way it was delivered, right? He just made a post, and after that, complete like silence, right? No, the official forum thread got 500 responses in like a few hours. The Reddit thread got similar responses. They were like, "Nope, that's it. No need to be conversing anything. The talking part is over, right?" It's like we said what we meant, and like that's it. Well,
We said what we meant, and CCP
it felt
is
a little
faithful
like
100%.
it felt like they took a page out of Blizzard's book and was like, "AT news is out." By the way, there's no.
I
AT.
know, it was so disgusting how they did it. Like, hey, look
Wait,
at that!
say
Look, there's
Otto.
news about the AT! Nah, screw you guys.
No, that's
We're
Wingnut.
not doing this. Like, it honestly just shows such a
Oh,
lack
fuck
of
yeah.
self-awareness, too. Like, why didn't you do it earlier on? And at the point where everyone's complaining about the game, and you're like, you know what? Let's just remove something we've done for like 15 plus years. This is a great idea. Why didn't we do this before?
Oh, is that the vocal of my good nerd Wingnut? Hey.
Yes, I
Hey.
smuggled
Like,
him here.
who is the voice?
Dude, yeah, dude. I thought that fucking I knew that JJ said Otto was gonna show up, and then like I'm like, that's not Otto, that's Wingnut. What just happened?
Okay, I
dude?
updated the
Otto is
title.
secretly Wingnut.
Yeah, you see that? That's my second life right there, man.
Yeah, but that's also a good point. The cancellation of AT was absolutely not some last-minute decision. That's not something that you decide on spot just because you feel like it. That must have been decided months ago. So why didn't we hear? Well, it's better that we heard about it before people got all ready for AT. It could have been that we would know 1 week prior. But, okay, I'm pretty sure that last AT they already knew that this year there won't be any, and who knows if there will be any at all ever. So why not let us know afterwards?
And the problem also is that like there was no hint of this before. That's the thing, right? If they were saying, you know, we're thinking about not running an AT this year, we're sorry that we might not be able to do it. It's not just that they didn't, that they cancelled it. We had no hint of this, beyond, of course, you know, TCP's lack of interest in anything recently.
No, and I think if they had announced it right after the end, you would have had a couple things actually come out of that. One, all of the solo pilots, all of these amazing solo small link gang pilots that practice 365 days a year, 20 to 40 hours a week for the AT wouldn't just be fucking leaving Eve and biomassing their accounts. Yamona left, dude. That guy's an amazing person in the community.
I know,
He's
man.
from Tuskers, and we've got other AT pilots leaving. These guys are the heart, soul, and bread and butter of the hardcore community. This move, the way it was done, has damaged that community so badly that it's absolutely disgusting.
And the
in
problem
some
is
ways
also
to
is
me.
like, sorry to cut in, that community was already in shit. Like most of us are solo guys. We like whether we love the game or not, still, we know how painful it is to do that. Like how
Yeah,
bad
no,
it would be just
yeah.
to roam.
It's already asinine to go out in PvP every day and bash your head against the blob wall. And I mean, like, we have fun doing it, but like, we're a small member of the community, or a small portion of the community that brings a shitload of content to the
here is
blocks
Otto.
and to the huge fucking blobs that are out there. And to like already make that smaller is absolutely like crazy to me. And there's no way that you don't make this decision and realize it's gonna have this effect unless you're that out of touch with your community.
I think they've always been out of touch. It's been CCP. That's just what they've always been. They've always been out of touch, always missing the mark. That's like we used to love them for that. But at the moment, it's just like, come on, this is basic stuff. Like, did you not sit down for your year 1 exam? Come on.
If we assume that they are deliberately doing so, that if we assume that they are competent and greedy, we can like go and say that it was like a business decision in which they're like saving money for this year, and in the next year it's gonna be if it comes back, right, it's gonna be restructured and different and whatnot. But like, you don't cancel the Super Bowl to like refit the rules or whatever, right? That's not a thing. The AT is like the spine of the Eve gaming and content. Like thousands of people work on that, and it affects even more people. And like, they were running it into the fucking ground with their decision making, and the Falcon's official forum post stated like, the stream was not as we expected it and whatnot. But my dude, if you run a shit stream, you're gonna get shit results, right? That's like, come on now. And the fact that they took the betting away and stuff, it all like adds into that, right?
I didn't
That's
realize
that's the thing as well. Like, as much as we don't like the whole the whole like casinos thing was always a big argument for people, and you know I can kind of get why they get rid of it. Like, there was no replacement for it. And honestly, it was kind of fun just to like bet on who was going to win these fights. Like, come on, that was awesome.
I didn't realize that CCP Falcon responded 6 hours ago in the AT thread, the update AT thread, and said that it's a matter of ratio to perspective, and that far more people are affected by changes we make to the war deck system than affected by postponing the Alliance
Oh
tournament.
my god.
That's
Yes.
absolutely not
Wait,
fucking
wait,
true.
Link that thing in
And
somewhere.
that's the problem.
Wait,
That's
where
the lack
the-
of
Okay, hold
understanding
on,
right there.
hold on. Before you nerds start reading, there's absolutely, if we go by the numbers of
Yeah,
players in high sec versus the numbers of players that watch the AT, like there are literally like thousands of nerds, right, that don't watch the AT and don't leave high sec, and so like mathematically, it's probably correct that more people are affected by the war deck changes than the AT not being there, but those two shouldn't be mutually exclusive.
Yeah, no, I
Because
agree in the same way.
if you go back to the release of all of like how many percentage of people live in high sec, null sec, low sec, high sec is always the vast majority, right? Like
Yes,
Yeah,
obviously.
all the
Because
Care
we have
Bears
all
were
the-
huddled up there.
right, we have like all of these nerds that just never leave high sec, and they just farm up in their marauders and stuff, and we just never hear from them until they lose their officer fit Chronos. But
Yeah, because they AFK on some gate.
so like
Yeah.
numerically, yeah, fine. Like I'll mathematically, yes, more people are affected by pretty much any high sec changes than any null sec changes. But why are those two mutually exclusive? Like
Yeah, why do those have to fight each other? Like, and I don't
Yes.
like read what he says here because honestly, this is like what. Like he goes, look a different way. If we decided to run AT again this year, it would be a case of the same shit, different year. And my first thought in my brain is, yeah, that's pretty much what the AT's always been. Just
Well-
slight variations on the actual theme. Like, what? Are you crazy?
I think part of the problem in that line of thinking, and he says here that far more people are affected by those changes that we make to the war deck system than are affected by postponing the Alliance tournament while we look at how to execute it more effectively, right? The key thing is you said it's not mutually exclusive, that end in there. He said it's a matter of prioritization and a matter of wanting to make sure that we execute AT correctly in the future with the full intent on making the best we can. If you're going to take a break from this AT, and this goes back to it should have been canceled earlier. That way, at least the people who are like me, the people like Yamona who quit the game, feel like CCP at least has a fucking plan, right? So like you end up in this situation where it looks like they canceled it like willy-nilly, like, even though it's probably not the truth. And it also looks like you've run into a really weird situation where by the way that we're getting communicated to from the community managers, that it seems like they just like to AT to them is some sort of minor deal, which to every hardcore player that brings any sort of actual
It's a fucking
content
gut
to
punch.
anybody, yeah, it's a gut punch. And we're a small minority, guys. Like the hardcore solo small gang people, I really do believe are a small minority of the game, anyways. So I mean, I understand it, but at the same time, we are the top. And as far as I'm concerned, we're the end game PvP content is 5 dudes fighting 500. And that's always fun in some way, even though you feel like you're smashing your head against a wall. It just is what it is, and it sucks.
And
Gross.
let's say that even if Vortex, yes, they affect more people, but that's not honestly something you market. Okay, look, after 15 years, our system that we implemented ages ago isn't shit. That's not good marketing. 80 was basically free publicity stunt for CCP. It cost them very little when you look at it, and it was free publicity basically. And it's better to have positive marketing of, look, we're doing tournament, than look, we fixed something that was shit and everyone knew it was shit, we knew it was shit, but we didn't do anything about it for ages. That's not exactly good marketing.
And like,
Yeah,
the AT was a thing that always brought people back to the game or to the game. Like some people came to the game just from the AT. Other guys who left the game come back to watch the AT, then it gets sucked back into the drug that we all keep taking.
Bruh, Farming Simulator has a esports scene and competitive yearly tournament, and Eve does not. Come on now. It's like
We
it's
don't
as if
have
they
tractors.
hate money literally, and they're like Like I can't even wrap my mind around that thing. If you look at like the last year's AT was spectated by multiple thousands of dudes, and the YouTube videos are watched in like 100,000s of views on each one, right? It's like dudes live from that because the rest of the game is the fucking dumpster, and like what like the prizes of the Special Alliance tournament ships are dope as fuck, and everyone talks about those. And accomplishment in and of itself, and you're like better than the rest of the super tryhard nerds. It's like I don't know. There was this heartfelt post by Test FC dude, right? He was like, "Oh, we mobilized a couple of hundred dudes, and everyone was like doing things and stuff, but now it's gone and stuff, and like,
Yes,
it's not pretty."
yes. Also, it will lead to some of the 80 team members, the long-term 80 participants leaving game, because honestly that was why they played the game. And even if they were less active on Tranquility than during the time when 80 was not on, it's still less content creators. It hurts everyone in the end.
So yeah, the AT, like as far as like the esports and stuff you were talking about, it's the only time when we have a Twitch presence other than like normal day-to-day streaming, like
Yeah.
like mainly when Bjorn is streaming and then a bunch of us are streaming, we'll crack like 1,000 viewers in the whole directory, right? Outside of that, like it's very rare for us to get for the Eve like directory to be larger than 1,000 total viewers. And AT is a great time, like where we hit 3,000 on like the unimportant matches, when they're gonna be a landslide, and they get up to like 10,000 during the semifinals and finals.
And the thing as well is that it's not just like when people just come and watch, which is when people come to watch, we always enjoy that. It's the excitement that comes from it. Like everyone's like getting excited and wakes up, and everyone's just like, yes! Like we've all remembered fights from the AT that got our bloody blood pumping, man. Like PL versus NC back when PL bought a boundary that freaking slept news.
Yes, who will boundary this year if there's no 18?
Oh, feels
Had
bad,
the PL
man.
boundary.
Another thing too I want to say is, CCP
shit, Mike,
said
no.
that they want to start helping player-based tournaments, right? And me and some other people went to talk to CCP about, for instance, I'm looking to run a tournament, running it on Sissy, right? And if CCP's like, no, you can't run it on Sissy, even if you only have 8 dudes logged in, stuff like that. And I understand that like Sissy's probably not the best example, but like still, if they know about this player-based, this player-ran tournament, why are they not jumping on it? I'm not the only one. I've already heard of a few others that are already like popping up because there's no AT this year. But like, where is the jump from CCP? Because these tournaments don't take a lot from them. They just take player time, right? And them like helping out in some way, even if it's like, oh, we'll throw a couple skins in or something like that. You could do a lot just in that sense. I don't see them doing anything like that yet.
That's early days, really, isn't it?
So Otto's here too. Yo, what up, Mono?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm a bit late, but hi.
Yeah,
Hey,
he's
man.
here.
Bloody monkey.
The bit that confuses me about all of it is that if CCP knew in advance they weren't going to do the tournament, why didn't they, as someone said earlier, I think it was DTM, why didn't they let someone know so that the community could take it up?
That was what we said before. And let's not forget, that's the second part of point 1. They are saying that they're saving the prestigious community team and dev time by not doing KT. At the same time, they cancel the FanFest, the short event, to send the, I suspect, community team and select employees on a world tour. Now tell me that doesn't take more time than running few days of a tournament on what's basically a test environment. A
That
world
was,
tour.
FanFest is supposed to be canceled because the venue's under renovation. Like
Yeah,
that was
but
At least give them that.
It works.
and
Yeah.
they announced that like in in a timely manner. They were at like Vegas, right? They were like, "There's no fan fest this year." Like that's a full like 6-7 months.
Yes, okay, they announced it, but why the World Tour? Because there's plenty of EVE-related events around the clock through the world. Why not go there?
Well,
That's
I
kind
think
of what
it's
they're doing. Like the Australian one, the Eve Down Under. I'm pretty sure that's the fan fest. That's now the part of the World Tour, right? Like
It is.
they're
Yeah,
not.
it's part of the world
Yeah.
tour, and there
So
is a
they're not
tournament thing
doing
going.
like a second. They're not doing like Eve Down Under and something, right? They're just turning Eve Down Under into the World
Exactly.
Tour.
They're sort of
Just like
taking over the country ones and making it their fan fest there. I can kind of get why they're doing it.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean
th-
that's
they
way
said,
less effort,
place is
right,
gone.
on them.
Yeah.
The groundwork is already laid. I think E Vegas like originally start as like a goon thing.
Yeah.
So like it started as a goon thing. Goons built it up, and then it got huge. So CSP was like, "Okay, we'll invest in this." And that's, I mean, the World Tour. Like I'm okay with like taking the Eve Down Under and then just being like, okay, we'll sponsor this. We'll send devs to go meet and greet and do all that stuff, and you have our support. That makes sense because it's way less resources than them starting like from scratch and trying to compete with an Eve Down Under, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody wants to fly to FanFest when they've got, an EVE event in their local town, or close.
Let's not say 2018 fashion. In 2017 and before fashion will return. I think they'll look for maybe Streamfleet to run it with CCP like supporting Streamfleet. I think FanFest will return. I think I'm like up in the air with the community team because it's like I want to believe that it's coming back, but I don't know. Like it's torn between hopefulness and reality. And I do think if for the AT specifically, the reason the AT like is a specific tournament that's a big deal is because the AT ship prizes. And I think if they're gonna like back Streamfleet or back someone to play or run this, they have to allow Thunderdome access. There's no way to facilitate a tournament of that style on TQ. There's no way. Even the sissy tournament, the girls versus boys one, got interrupted a lot.
Yeah.
I
they made
believe FanFest will return. I don't think AT as we knew it will return. I think it might return as a Streamfleet run thing. Because like Raiden Harmon and Ms. Moses and the rest of Streamfleet have done like an incredible job with helping the events as they have been.
For sure.
So I think CCP backing them to run the AT with Thunderdome access is possible.
I'll say like
be living the
sorry to cut in,
dream.
like,
I
I think that they will bring AT back. They have to. They've already gone, oh shit, and they're trying. Like you can see, they're trying to put the lid back on it. But like, you open Pandora's box now. But they're gonna try and bring it back next year.
I think that I want to see a couple things come out of this overall, just to sort of wrap up. Does anyone actually believe AT will return? I believe AT will return. I believe it will be a relic, though. I hope it will be a relic because I don't want to see a tournament where there's a paywall to get into it. You have to have trillions and trillions of ISK available at your disposal to get the AT ships to be competitive, right? I don't want to see that. I want to see the best pilots flying against the best pilots. I want to see an actually competitive tournament.
So you're saying you won't be participating?
An AT? No thanks. And actually, and that's true, dude. I don't think I'm a good pilot. Anybody who watches my stream can confirm I'm a Garbo pilot. But that's what I want to see. I want to get invested in it. I want to get invested in the players that are in the tournament. I want to see a format that's smaller, so it's less chaotic, so we can bring people into this game because they're gonna watch top tier PvP and be like, I want to be in like 3 dudes versus 3 dudes in spaceships fighting for ships that are worth $3,000 in real life money. Yeah, let's go. Like that's what I want to see. I don't think the community team will ever be what it once was. I still think they're going to try. I hope anyways. And if people can organize their own tournaments, I hope CCP comes out with some damn good tools, because I don't think we're going to get Thunderdome access.
Okay. Any closing thoughts on the topic before we move on?
I think it's gonna return as a disgusting money grab, right? It's not gonna return as any kind of noble or good thing. It's just gonna be like, buy shit loot boxes or whatever dumb thing like that, right? That's my prophecy, if it ever comes back. And it's gonna cost us at least a year of life to see if he was a liar or telling truth once in his life. Well,
Any other thoughts?
It already was a money grab before because you had to buy the Payplex to get into it. But they're going to try and bring it back. But the problem is, I think that when they come back, they're going to find it's been somewhat decapitated in people. Like all the people that we come to watch, I won't be there.
It comes down to the cameraman as well. The person who was running the camera last AT, that dude, like, he never played EVE in his life, right? So there's like competent normal nerds who wanna...
Hey, why?
So someone just said Michael J. Fox could have done better camera work.
Oh my nerd, here is that
Dude.
So like,
No,
we
mate,
need
Ray
like...
Charles could have done better camera work.
Yeah, for real, like we need like the TikTok or me or Cuff or someone to be sitting on the fucking camera and to have like 500 APM and to click that shit as it's supposed to be clicked. Not some kind of dude who's like, we're looking at this wreck for a while now, right?
Yeah.
Come on now. There's like many
will
room for
say-
improvements in the technical department as such, but the casting job done last year by like Rain and the crew, it was awesome. And it was all done by volunteer dudes, and it was like legit, genuinely better than any kind of CSP driven production, right?
So Miss Moses just told me there were multiple camera people last year, and if that's the case, it's still on individuals, but it's more on the production manager, the guy who's deciding which cameras to show. That's super duper. That's not easy to do. I mean, the guys over.
I've seen better camera work in amateur section of Pornhub.
Bro, when we were running
Everyone was volunteers, yeah.
Melna's tournament, we had a better camera for sure, and we were running a single account, lol.
Fuck.
TikTok.
Alright,
Alright.
Necrol, thanks.
let's
for
wrap
friend.
it up, I guess.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Yep.
And move on to the next point, which is why we got Otto here, because he's a disgusting Kerber in disguise. And that's events. The previous event was underwhelming. The event before that was so-so. The current event is basically Minor Wars 2.0 Alpha Access DLC. So, honestly,
The savagery. Man, the savagery.
yes, it's Horse Armor DLC.
Oh,
Woo is even the fucking audience for events that are not well received by people that usually run events, that is not well received by people that usually do not run events, that wasn't really well received by anyone, and to top it off, instead of reward, you get loot box that you open for a reward. So, what do you think? Is this like some sneak attempt by CCP to kill off events, or is this some sort of test?
No, it's much more insidious. Listen, the thing which happened there was that injectors and those things went up. That's what they're doing. That's the deliberate push. So the strategy was to artificially inflate those things with the intent of getting more plexus bought and shit like that, right?
They will also charge us to open loot boxes, one of my viewers said. Honestly, dude, I think what ended up happening is people actually thought PA acquired CCP, right? But what actually happened was behind the curtains, like EA swooped in at the last second, and they're like, hold on, dude, we got this. That's what really happened.
Does anyone remember where the events were actually good? Like, were
Yeah.
great
Man.
content magnets, and they were actually worth doing for everyone involved. Like, the PvP
Yeah, even
guys
the
were doing
PvP.
Oh
so
yeah.
good.
When the Purity of
PvP
Throne
guys look good
sites
there.
came out for the first time, I got so many good fights out of that, and it was like the first time I was like, oh my gosh, there's actually a a content driver in high sec for PvP, and now it's just like, no, dude. It's like I don't feel like there's not been an actual event for like PvPers in a long time.
Well,
So
even
That's
the
the thing,
first,
there's not much
the
reason
first
PvP
Guardians
as well.
Guardians Gala event was
Yeah.
fine. Like they just
was,
yeah, that was
overloaded
okay.
them. They just
Yeah.
there's too much in the event sites now. There's there's the loot box mechanic, which to personally I'm fine with, because we're gonna figure out if it's worth it or not. Like we as an E players are gonna figure
Yeah.
out if it's worth it or not in like the first day, and then no one's gonna do it or everyone's gonna do it. And that part doesn't. I don't give a shit. Because nerds are gonna figure it
Don't
out.
smoke.
But like,
Smoking is bad for
you
your
have
health.
these sites that are they're just overloaded with rats. They could use like a little less
VHS,
rats so that a
hoodie.
normal PvP fit has a chance of doing them. And then you remove like don't make the mining mechanic required as part of it. Just make them simple sites, because that's what the first ones were, and that's why they were content magnets, because I could warp in with a Hecate and like
And go
person had
mining.
to be at either 0 doing, or 10, 20 doing it, or they were at like 100 and they had to come in to loot it. So they have to make a choice. Do you come loot it, or do you run away? I think just making them simple.
Dude, it made suspect baiting so much fun, because you'd sit there and you'd be looking at a Care Bear. You're like, I'm suspect, dude. I just stole your shit. What you gonna do about it, dude? And you're like staring across him across the room like you just stole his girlfriend, and you're like, let's fucking go, man. Are you ready for this? And he's like sitting over there. He's all shaking and shit. He's like, oh, I don't know what's going on here, boys.
Exactly like that. Why not?
Yeah, dude. That's
Like
what I
the-
imagined in my
The
mind.
only good thing which happened from this event was when the rat was bugged out and dumpstering those shit tangoos and whatnot. That was fucking priceless. Man, to this day, we read print screens of that on our Discord and laugh to the disgusting Care Bears, how they were eating shit. It was like golden.
Honestly, that if they
DTM
left
is,
it in, then
each
the event
streamer.
would be at least worthwhile for the difficulty alone.
At
No,
least
it'll be worthwhile for us guys. We come in there like shoot once at like the Tengu and run, and just
land
laugh.
at like 100 with an oracle, blap him, and run away. That's so fucking good, because like it doesn't work for Care Bears, it doesn't work for us. It's great, man. It's great. At least there's some PvP.
Yeah, alright. Well, go ahead, Otto. You wanted to talk shit about the event?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure you know more
so-
than me.
I was talking, I think it was to JJ the other day. The events used to be able to be done in a simple kite confessor, the standard beam confessor. You'd be able to do that, run the site perfectly fine, and you could get fights from it. It was one of the biggest content generators out there aside from Posses. But now you've got to do it in like a Gila or a Loki. I don't see no one doing it in T3Ds. And there's no one in their right mind who's going to want to go 40 jumps in null in a max tank Gila just to try and gank other people doing the site.
In
The only
Max
thing they're
Tank
good for
Gila.
now.
For real.
Oh yeah, because like the rats are pretty deadly now. But the only reason the event sites are good now, and most other PvPers will know this, if you walk to the beacon like Losec, you cannot light a Sino. And if you burn off that grid and someone combat probes you, you land at the acceleration gate, just like in Losec.
Yep, it's just like a
only
large
good for
flex.
splitting gangs.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only reason the events are good, but the events themselves are terrible, and they have just gotten worse, in my opinion, of course.
Nicole, thank you for the follow. Man, I can't wait, dude. Now that they have every time they come out with sites, it just encourages me to do a carrier roam and warp at 0 and just like a line out and just wait for nerds to land at 0 on the beacon and kill them. It's the real reason I like the sites.
The last time they did an event like this, I was doing it in Vol, my home system, and a carrier spawned. So I thought, okay, I'll go grab one of my carriers and kill it. And like a minute later, in half structure, it warped off despite the fact that my ult in a scepter had pointed it. It was just like, yeah, nope, I'm gone, bye.
Well, shit.
Anyway,
Should have brought a super forehead.
yeah. What you don't do event? You don't do event in the oracles? It's a mining event. Get with the times.
Oh, no.
Well, don't even get me started on Rorquals, man.
Oh,
They use
man,
mobile
dude.
NJDs.
Yeah, but okay. Can we find out who the event was actually targeted at, because honestly, no matter who I asked, I didn't find any, target audience for this event, so, like, what was the point of even doing it, or not adjusting it? Because I'm pretty sure that CCP has the numbers, and I'm pretty sure they won't be nice, as in, that the event will be a flop.
Well, I mean,
It's
as
not a
I've described
flop.
before. Oh,
It's
Sorry,
like,
Jimmy.
pardon, friend. It's achieved their goal, which is to increase the value of injectors and shit in ISK, decrease the value of ISK, right? Thus increasing the buying power of money relative to Plex. From their business perspective, it's a complete success. The fact that we're all butt salty and that the event is shit isn't like important to those dudes. They only give a fuck about the money, right? If you look at the prices of injectors, plexes, MCTs and shit like that, it's like you can see that things, and like the dude's video got removed from YouTube because he was posting that things and whatnot. Right, like the controversial video which he removed, the video which I'm talking about recently. It was
I think I have, but let's put on a tinfoil hat for a second, okay? Let's go for conspiracy. Was it a testbed for more loot boxes?
Maybe, but the thing is, like, as we all know, like, essentially Eve drops us sort of in a way just a loot box without the box around it, In the end, it's essentially the same thing. You throw in your Geely, your VNI, whatever into the site, and you get some loot out of it. It's it was kind of already there, just didn't have the name in the box and the connotations that go with it.
I
Yeah,
think
I mean-
what is super duper important though is now, see, the reason why that's okay is you can't sell that loot, right? So when you
do you mean?
blow up a ship, you can't sell the loot, right? But if you pick up a loot box, you can then go sell the loot box to another player. Does that make sense?
What do you mean? Like if I do any PVE content and it drops, then I'm selling.
I think he
No,
means
I'm
it,
talking about if you actually implement an actual loot box system, right? It's like like the boxes for like skins and stuff, right? So like you can sell the box to other players for them to open up, right? Does that make sense? Versus
Yeah, you can.
doing it. It doesn't work in Deads, but I mean, I hope
You
that makes
can
sense.
tell them basically the chance to roll the dice, and lots of people really love rolling the dice.
Oh
yeah, like
But
I get
the
where
same
he's
thing,
coming
I
from,
bought
and then
DD sites. Like I bought like 3,000.
No,
DD
I mean,
sites.
if you get concrete loot, it's that loot, and it has its buyer, it has its seller. But if you sell the loot box, you're basically selling chance. If you get what I mean.
I get what you're saying in that regard, Frank, but you still have to undock and go into space for that, right? You don't have to undock in the way that I'm talking. So somebody who's gathered a lot of ISK could just sit in G to 4-4, buy loot boxes, and open them all day long, and that's all they do. I think that's sort of key. Like, so, like, when you actually mean by selling that and, like, engaging in that, that's super duper important to the process in some ways, because you're removing sort of you're not just removing content from space, like you're actively engaging in what would be considered like loot box practices without effort. I think that's kind of important, especially when somebody can dump their money into the game, right? And this is kind of like the CSGO thing, right? You dump your money into your game, you open up loot boxes, and you hope for a chance to get something good or your money's worth out. Does that make sense?
Yep, and the items would be soul bound to the goddamn account. You can't list them on the market or contracts or whatever. Like premium skins and shit, right?
Watch out. Some skins are already marked in game as premium. For now, it doesn't mean anything, but they already have the markers in place. I mean, it could be just meaningless. Okay, this skin is limited, kind of thing, but. You never know with CCP, honestly.
Yeah, dude. First enchanting, now soulbound items and loot boxes, man. What's next?
I mean, does anyone still care about the enchanting? Like,
I think
I don't think it was necessarily bad, but I guess the overall arcing point is they're putting these like these interesting multiplayer tropes into the game, like these MMORPG MMO tropes into the game.
You could say it's a bit Korean.
Oh my
So like
dude.
again, I don't really have a problem with loot boxes because at the end of the day, Eve is the type of Eve players are the type of people that are going to open like 100, 1,000 loot boxes, document the data, and be like, these aren't worth it, and then no one's ever gonna, besides idiots, no one smart is ever going to open or not open. You know, they're just gonna follow the data.
If they
what
ever make a
happens
loot
with
box
strong
cost
boxes.
Plex, then we'll bring out our pitchforks. But until then, we don't really give much of a fuck right now.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
nobody
care.
cares because you can just mine 1,000 loot boxes while you're in your Rourke and Delve and worry about the upcoming Rourke nerfs, you know?
Troll! Troll! God,
I want to buy gold drones for my premium Rourke.
Yes. I mean, we already got Plex cannons in the form of shadow drones. Might as well go for Plex mining bays, right? When like
Be
the
fair, though.
whales go into that money battle and the dudes cream themselves literally.
Dude, I'm ready for a mining tournament, please. Except it's
I
got to be
mean-
in low sec in the system I live in.
That's gonna be the next Alliance tournament, right? Rorkal's mining shit. Right?
Oh god. Those shadow drones, they suck. I've used them and they are terrible. No one in their right mind is going to use them unless you've got like 15 supers and you want the Alpha 1 super. And even then it's going to cost you like 20 bill to do so. They're generally not worth using.
I'm using them all the time.
They're
Yeah, but
lit
you're like
worth
a
it also if you
billionaire.
shoot them from the Keepstar, right? They're lit. There's this video in which the Opa's Revelation gets one shot by those things. It's like super nice.
You can have them on the Keep Stars.
Yes.
I did not know that. That is stupid.
Oh,
Yes.
why not? Literally Plex cannons, what?
Yeah, okay,
Dude,
I
just-
fully understand that. Yeah, fair enough.
Just wait till they let you use excavator drones on Radaroos and mining platforms and stuff, and then they just literally never have to undock because it's one dude sitting in an Athenor mining his moon rocks with his.
Finally, reason to remove the undock button and we will be free.
No one will ever have to undock again.
I
Okay.
hate Athenos. I really do.
You and me both,
because,
man. They're the most disgusting thing. Like the moment where the game would needed a content magnet, something to get people to try and get a fight, right? And like, you know what? No. While you're at your moon, we're just gonna have this Athenor that sits there. They're just gonna jam you permanently while you land there. Sucked
Yeah,
in.
why-
What, you wanted content and Eve? Get fucked.
Why can't the Athenor just be like 600 kilometers or 500 kilometers away? Like that would be fine. Like
Because-
then it's still there in warping distance.
Hey,
you can,
be soon.
you know, whatever. But if I tackle a fucking miner, I don't have to fight this fucking structure that I can't disarm. And I can't like outmaneuver.
It's a new model. PVS, player versus structure. Okay? It's in the future.
I don't
No,
understand.
it's not play versus structure. Structure versus players.
Whoa.
It's so weird, dude, because before you tackle Rourks or Orcas or Hulks or whatever, and they just drop 13 supers on you. Now they've decided we're just gonna give you this one bill structure that's literally a super. We'll just leave it on grid with you. Don't worry about it. It's like they just took it out. They're like, you don't even need to Sino anymore. Just have someone take control of this. Like they made it so much easier for defense.
And with that, introducing Sino module for Athanors.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm leaving. I'm sorry. I can't handle
Stop
this.
giving CCP ideas. No.
I mean, we can
Hell.
those are Upwell jump beacons, right?
Yes,
You
but
can,
they don't. You can't light them instantly. Like you have to. It has to be more safe.
yeah,
I'm mailing-
I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
I'm mailing CCP Hilmar right now. All right, let's wrap this one up because
CCP is just gonna watch shit talking in stations, and that's how they're gonna figure out what they're gonna do next. We need to be careful with the power we wield, boys. I'm just saying.
They're gonna make it that
idea.
the Athenor can use a
Station
Sino.
cloaking devices. When? when
I want to warp my fucking Fortizar to the gate.
Citadel
Admin
you-
will let
you-
you
you-
use Sino, which costs Plex to fire.
Stop. All right, I can't laugh anymore. I'm gonna fucking run out of
All
air.
right, we will cut short here because this loot box contains some horrible shit.
look, man,
Let-
if I can't buy capital covert ops cloaks for $100 real money, then I don't want to play this game.
Okay, now imagine these 3 super caps. It's hell, but it can cloak, and it can jump to cover Sino, and instead of fighters, it has sweepers. The sweepers also fire sweepers.
You mean the previous strip was before the
Yes.
Oh no, I think DTM is done.
I cannot kill.
I think I get CCP's next idea, man. Ethanol is you have Sinos, but the Sinos cost Plex to run.
Let's move on to the next shit point.
Ah.
And that's, well, that was on the first episode, but it will be on this episode again because the situation changed. Or actually, it didn't change. You know how CCP said that if the chat is still not working perfectly, they will roll back? Well, they didn't roll back. They declared that the chat is working well enough. While on the one hand, we can agree that that keeping new technology is better than having to hot patch something that's deprecated, although you can't really deprecate fucking IRC. On the other hand, Wu had some problems with chat recently.
I just linked a bug report ID in my Twitch chat. It happened on live stream, right? Every stream we stream, there's like some issues with that shit chat. So it's like legit fucked.
Also,
So,
the
yeah.
overview, right? The overview thing. Like, I just had it where I saw a Gnosis that was 1.1 AU away on my overview.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Like, I had
Yeah,
it like
that's decent. That's
30 seconds ago.
yes. These things are still present. Chat is still not working perfectly, but
We got a free injector. So,
yes, it was so much worth it. So okay,
and
how do you think that the chat that we will at any point in this massively multiplayer online RPG game have things that were commonplace in this genre like 20 years ago, and by that I mean stable working chats? And
Never again. And also, dudes were like, what's the most infuriating thing is that the dudes were blaming the community for that. There's like a post in which the official is saying, we didn't get any bug reports for a while. And I'm like, yo, you got like a bunch of bug reports throughout a year-long period. No one responded to those. Of course, no one's gonna submit any things, right? You're not gonna waste your fucking breath, mate, right? Like, come on now. It's easy to doctor imaginary strange numbers in any way you want. Depends on how your definition of is, right? But like, the chat's legitimately fucked and it's like hopeless and it's GG. I understand that like it's a pre-requirement for future developments of the shit game and whatever and so on and so forth, but we can either choose to have a working chat or some fancy new features which are like secondary to a functional chat, right?
Yeah.
If a chat works 7 out of 10 times or 99 out of 100 times, that's not good because it puts certain dudes at an advantage against others. It needs to be a level playing field. Either it works flawlessly for everyone or no, or just like remove the entire goddamn local and who gives a shit, right? We'll just like talk shit in Discord or whatever.
yes, and honestly, do you think that CCP at any point actually planned on doing some rollback? Because now when you think
that was
about it,
pocket sand, that's
they're
bullshit.
pushing towards the 64 client harder than I've ever seen in my entire life. That being said, though, this whole thing, the fact that it's fucking when it came out and it was like people are like start noticing this isn't working. The fact that they didn't know it wasn't working means that none of their developers ever play this game, if that's the truth. That being said, and where it's at, when the chat came out, CCP devs were in the forum link, and I'll try and find it and post it. but it literally, they're like, we didn't expect this much leave join traffic. Especially in Jita, they said that's the main reason that the chat system was having that much problem. Are you fucking kidding me? You've been running this game for 15 years, and you don't have statistics on how much leave join traffic you have and how that's going to work with the fucking architecture you're trying to implement? Even the thing that they implemented, which was it XAMPP they implemented? I don't remember.
Jabber.
Jabber.
Yeah.
That's not something that's new.
Yeah,
That's
like
been
super
around.
mature technology. You could go to the moon with that and back, and it will
It's
still work.
ICQ. When was the last time? When did you use ICQ? Remember that?
I say we just roll it all back to IRC. I mean, what are we
Yes,
talking
and
about?
basically that's what it boils down. The rollback promise was smoke and mirrors from day one, because no matter how you think about it, since they're already pushing for ripping out the obsolete code out of the client and server, obviously, there was basically no chance they could ever roll back. So this was just that smoke and mirrors, just to make people think that something is being done, and in reality maybe they just bought better plan from Amazon. That's probably what they did.
FC
Here's the
giving
thing, right?
commands
So-
through smoke signals is the best fucking shit I've ever heard all day long. I'm done now, dude. I
So
can
like
die
you said
now.
before, like the problem they were having was like, you know, the in and out traffic in Jita. Has these guys never just been parked in the perimeter gate? Like, is there anyone remember from a long while ago where you go to Jita, you go in the perimeter, you land the Jita gate, and you can't get through because Jita is fucking full. You see like
Yes.
20 or 30 Freyas just fucking sitting there. Have they never played this fucking game? That they know Jita is the biggest fucking trade hub that people come in and out of all the fucking time. Like, how blind fucking stupid you have to be to not fucking see that? Just park in the fucking perimeter gate and look at it.
Yeah,
It must
that's
be a
the.
deliberate decision. The dudes were like renting the chat from the lowest bidder deliberately and then bullshitting to us, right?
Yeah. And then they literally they wait 12 months to say anything. What kind of fucking whose idea was that? I mean, they didn't
quick for
even
CCP.
like we have it fixed. They waited 12 months to say we're going to make it a priority now.
That's quick for CCP.
That's quick for CCP. Oh shit, dude.
3 years of
Didn't they
Ishtar, 2
try-
years of Sweeples.
Didn't they try a couple of updates before that though? I'm
They-
fairly
they
sure there
might
was a
have,
couple.
But it's
there you go. Then they addressed it before. They just didn't do a forum post about it.
Yeah, but that's still really bad management, because
Oh, I
it's
agree
such
with
a
that.
key feature in the game. It should have been priority numero
CCP in
uno
2
as soon
words.
as it was broken.
CCP in 2 words. Bad management.
I think Jebby said it really well in the video, in the interview I did with him, and he talked about how, you know, we joke about how like the chat is sort of just like it's a social experience, and the chat is super duper important about it, and like EVE Online is kind of like a bunch of these extra features. I don't remember. I might be paraphrasing.
Yeah,
really
for
bad,
sure.
Jebby.
It's like Eve is literally a chat client with these extra features. Right?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
They can't even get the chat client.
And they
right.
can't get the primary thing to fix. It was really that's tough, man. That's tough as a developer. I don't know what to say.
Let's say nothing. Does someone want to bitch a bit more about the chat still?
How much did they pay Amazon this time? I want everybody's like.
Uh,
their
ma-
plan, dude.
I will call Soul. They will probably know.
They just fix it one of 2 ways. Just either just fucking fix the fucking thing or remove it and let us go to like no local chat if you really want to go for that. Just fucking do something. Make a fucking choice instead of making us sit through this mess going, well, what the fuck's wrong with you?
And
Nah,
preferably,
just keep giving me free SP. It's fine.
yes. And preferably try to do it on testing environment first next time. Let's wrap up and move on to point 4. We're almost midway. And this will be the point where we forgive CCP for everything they did. Because even if they're canceling the AT, if they're doing shit, fuck all for FunFest, if they're not have working chat, at last they will focus on balance.
Bullshit.
Dude.
So okay, like the issue here is that they pretty much put all of their eggs in the basket of balancing, of releasing, let's say, multiple balance patches over the course of this year, right? Like, they've given up the AT. They don't have to run FanFest. Like, they're like, we're gonna focus on balance. Like, okay, that's kind of okay if like the
They actually did
balance
it.
happens.
So here's, sorry to cut it. I just
But
want to say
like,
this, right? So
if you drop the ball on the balance now, then what was the point of everything throughout the year?
So like, here's the thing, right? This is the thing that pisses me off. I hear like, oh, we're gonna do balance. Oh, really? So Eve Down Under last year, Fozzie was there, Falcon was there, some other guys were there. Fozzie himself said that the Loki was overpowered. That they intentionally did it like, so people would actually fly the damn thing and they would nerf it back into realism. It's been a year. It's been a full year. They already said that it was overpowered. It's been a fucking year and they haven't done shit. They haven't even fucking touched it. And now they're saying, oh, we're gonna do balance. Oh, fucking really?
Dude, just look at my kill board and what me and 3 Lokis did to Goons yesterday. And I mean, that's enough said right there. It's a wall of green. Like, it's disgusting. And like,
yeah, it's just like they know it's overpowered. They're like they've known how to fix it too. Because obviously it was fucking shit once upon a time. Just put it in the middle somewhere. But it's like, nope.
If we look at the updates website and the CC Please website, we'll see that the balance thing is nowhere to be seen, right? If it was on the agenda, it would be listed there.
It was on the roadmap, and that roadmap ended this month. So, okay, it's not on the roadmap anymore.
I think part of the thing is too is what does balance mean? Does balance mean balancing nullsec versus nullsec capital fights? Does balancing mean, you know, Feroxes versus fucking Munins? Or like, what does balancing mean to CCP? And where are they trying to actually instill balance in? There's not been balance in small gang solo for years. We have a very select amount of different kind of ships that we can run. So the meta is very, very min-maxed right now for that. You fly
and honestly, there was no balance the moment that Rorquals came out. Like, Rorquals became mining gods. The moment that popped up, every balance issue became exacerbated.
Mean? What does it's and like they haven't made a clear statement on what that means. Like, what are they looking to balance?
I mean,
for them, balance means money.
I agree with you. This is a great question because when you said like, what does balance mean? I don't really have a clear definition in my head either of what. I know of certain ships that I would like buff/nerfed, all right?
Yeah.
Or certain game mechanics that I would like buff/nerfed, but I don't really know what.
We need like tier sides and shit, reworks of auto cannon, certain artillery ammo, nerf the Lokis, nerf the Coercers, nerf the Kikis, nerf the Leshaks, nerf a bunch of strange shit. Like, there's a long list of shit which needs to be adjusted, and like, it's not like they need to code in new ships. Literally goes to the goddamn database and like changes its signature from 600 to 700 proverbially,
yes,
right?
And this thing has to happen often, and like, you will never have perfectly balanced game because it's a sandbox. It's impossible to be perfectly balanced, but that's why you have to work on it all the time. You nerf one thing, you buff other thing. Okay, this is our power. We will nerf it. Okay, we will buff some other thing. It's not. It has to be, how to say it, fluid process.
Yeah, like a continuous thing.
It's a pursuit. It's not a goal that's achievable in any way, shape, or form. And I think somebody in my chat just said it. At least to balance to him, and this sounds okay to me. I'm not 100% if I'm 100% on board. But he said, I think what balance means is that there should always be some ship, right, that has some amount of counters, right? And there are ships in this game right now which don't have counters. Rorks don't really have counters if they're underneath the cap umbrella, like stuff like that. Like you end up in like this really, really weird situation right now. Where if you're flying if you're flying some ships suboptimally, Loki's an example, they don't have very many counters at all. Like even assault frigates in their current state, like the Ramjag, is ridiculously strong. As far as counters, it has like the Loki, and even then, once you get under the Loki's guns, the Loki's screwed. So like, how many ships does like actually counter a Ramjag in this game, other than something that can slow it down, like a dual web Loki? It's kind of
pretty much nothing. Yeah. The moment the AF changes came out, man, I got into that fucking Jaguar, and like everyone's saying, put a web on it. Fuck no, put tank on.
I love
and all of a sudden it becomes this monstrous, beastly, fucking monster.
No, they really are. They're incredibly strong. So like figuring out where the rock paper scissors in the game and where the game is at a healthy place to where all ships have their counters and their imbalances and everything
Yeah,
is super
squishy is
duper
right.
important. Right now it's just not in a place like that. And part of that isn't just ship balance. Part of that's the emerging properties of like null sec blocks and low sec blocks that are just super duper strong, at least in PvP and industry terms.
Don't smoke.
Delve
That's bad for you.
produced 26 trillion in assets last month. 26 trillion, guys, which means that all around, goons, assuming they had a 15 or 10% tax rate, made somewhere between 1 trillion and 1.5 trillion. I got told yesterday by a goonie that they have enough ISK, liquid ISK right now, to sustain 6 years of capital warfare without any income. This is not a healthy game.
Like, they're gonna balance means that they wanna generate money, right? It doesn't mean balance the same way as it means to us.
It means balance their wallet.
Yeah, like they don't wanna like work on like when was the last time you heard your FC say, please load up Quake ammunition in your artillery high slot, right? That's not a thing, right? But like, then there's a bunch of examples like that. All
right, Jebby, are you ready for the NATO fleet? We're only bringing Quake.
Oh, no, please. I'd rather delete him, lol. Like, that's why we can't face plasma, right?
I don't really know what the point of those numbers were, because like it'd be like, JJ, how long could you fund like all 5 of us solo PvPing? Like,
and he's been doing
I'm
it
pretty
for
sure
every
we
year.
would die of old age.
I mean, the server will shut down.
Yeah, like that's. I mean, I don't know like what the point of that number. That amount was.
Like, yeah, before, when it comes to wars, you could actually try and like potentially bleed them dry on ships. That's kind of what happened multiple times. It still doesn't really work. It hasn't worked for years, but the point is still that you could theoretically pull it off. Now it's like goons could just throw ships into the grind permanently. They wouldn't care. They could throw like 50 Titan fleets the entire year and just whelp the shit out of them and not give the slightest of fucks.
The game mechanics is designed as such. If the dudes, if they all literally delete their accounts right now, it will still take us 6 to 8 months to kill all those shit unpowered citadels. Right?
Yeah.
No one exists there. Just ghosts, just sticks. No one manning, 0 people there, 6 months to clear that shit up for sure. And that's like with super autistic timed alarm clocked fleets and like it's not sustainable, right? Like, come on now, that's not a good thing.
No, it's not. Which goes back to the question, CCP. I'm telling you right now, this in an open forum. We're on stream. If there's a CCP dev watching, please let us know. What does balance mean to... They're probably not. I wouldn't want to watch this. But if you guys watch this vid or anything like that, please shoot me a message. I want to know what balance means to CCP.
So
I do.
I don't remember what FanFest, but I think it was either CCP Falcon or CCP Rise. They were talking about balance, and they on stage in front of everyone on stream said that balance was going to be a continuous thing, because if they nerfed one thing, it would buff it for another thing. For example, if you were to buff a small gang ship, just random breach or whatever, and made it really good for small gang, and then apply that to one of the null blocks, it would become stupidly overpowered. So I can see why they take their time with it, but they themselves said they had to keep doing it to keep the game from
I don't see it at all.
stagnating.
Like,
I mean, that was an argument before injectors were a thing, right? Because you need like 8 months to train into the new shit doctrines, right? You can't like just magically be without injectors, that is, right? So, but as long as injectors are a thing, you can make like monthly balance patches and you'll still be within reason.
Yeah, and I disagree that, you know, you can't just buff things and, you know, be happy with it. We don't like sitting there waiting for a year while the Swiftle's overpowered. We all know it's overpowered and CP won't do shit. Same with the Loki.
Bro,
I don't give a fuck if they break things by accident, if they just do it every month. If they change things up every month, at least the game would fucking change. At least something might happen.
I wouldn't say monthly, because that would require so much work, but even quarterly, that would be enough for the most of us, I'd say. Because
I'd be fucking happy with that shit. A quarter a year, a change happens, good.
Exactly, yeah. You wouldn't have to wait so long for something that's broken.
Yep, and it's also changed the evolving gameplay. There's not a lot of evolving gameplay. Everybody knows what a Loki does. It's been doing the same thing for, the last 3 years or whatever, right? So,
No, shorter but
what?
long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But it still has to do with, like, you have to learn to rebalance, right? Goons, because of how many people they are fantastically good at min-maxing inside of this game. Because of how many people they are, you send 100 dudes, right, to do the same thing, one of them is going to get it right eventually, right? So what you've got to take into account, and I don't know how much CCP does this, and this still goes back to the question, what does balance mean to them? Where does min-maxing end up hurting you because you've min-maxed in the wrong direction and CCP rebalances, so then you have to learn the new way of doing it. Keep null blocks on their toes, keep us on our toes. I want to keep everybody on their toes. That way we all have to stay on top of the game in some way, shape, or form. I don't want it to be difficult. I just want you to have to, pay attention to what's going on. I think you'll get a much more fun game out of it.
And going from that, like they were saying once upon a time, they didn't want to have to change things so rapidly. People's skills became useless because before we had injectors, you're right, it takes like 6 to 8 months to get a doctrine going.
Yeah.
But we're in the days of injectors now. Like if they did rapid changes and made like all the shit people use suck, they could just switch over to the next ship the next day, and not have any problem with it.
Yep.
That's not a good balance point, but honestly, doing any balance at all requires someone to actually work on it. CCP does not have balance team. Yabby would probably be able to tell you about it.
Dude, there's that clip again, dude. That's my favorite Jebby clip of all time.
Pull it out.
That's like the timeless classic. I know it from the URL.
Oh, dude, hold the presses. I thought CCP had a dedicated balance team. That's when I was like, all right, Jebby's one of the best streamers ever. That's really when I decided that.
Yes, but okay, even if they don't have balance team, how would you handle the balance, honestly? Because the council approach of focus groups was hit and miss. I mean, T3D was done by means of focus group, and it worked out pretty well. But T3 cruisers were also done by focus group, and we got the Loki. And when was the last time you saw any other T3 in PvP situation, or any situation, honestly?
When I'm getting hot dropped, anytime I'm getting hot dropped, it's like a Proteus or...
Loki.
Yeah.
The shield.
That's their problem that they can fly prospect.
The Tengu is still good for PvE, but at the end of the day, you no longer see the Proteus outside of 150k EHP fit Sino ones. Which is a shame.
That's not quite
because
true. I've seen a few solo
ship.
guys flying around with them too. They're not like the problem is that these Proteus is not oh my god what the fuck barbecue OP now. It is actually pretty reasonable.
The problem is the Proteus gets dumpstered by 2 orcas. I'm just speaking from personal experience.
No, you get.
I mean, yeah, most ships get dumped by 2 orcas. I mean, it's 2 fucking orcas, mate.
What do you mean, dude? I've got a kill mail here that shows me and Toxic killing a Proteus and 2 orcas. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, you
and PvP fit orcas?
Yeah, we roamed 2 of them. We killed a Proteus. Have you guys not seen the kill mail? I'll link it here.
I mean, yeah, but that using that logic, I killed a Loki with a fucking Enyo. Does that mean Lokis are underpowered?
I killed Loki a Zedmap as well.
Yeah, buff Lokis, buff Orcals.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, please, dude, buff orcas, man.
I want to web people from across the grid. 4,000-kilometer webs for Loki.
Yep, I mean,
That's the thing, like,
we
just
got
because like,
Eros
something that's like a
implants and
kill in
shit.
this ship doesn't really make that ship weak. The Proteus is still a good ship. It's just not oh my god fucking overpowered or big for fleets.
Well, the problem
There are
is
now
you're
other
not
options.
you're not
The Proteus
talking
is
about
garbage.
necessarily the same issue though, because inside of a Loki, right? You kill that with an Enyo. If it's already fit, once you get underneath its guns, that's the counter getting underneath the arty guns of the Loki, right? The Proteus applies to an Orca just fine, right? And that's probably a terrible example, anyways. But I'm just saying that they don't tank like they used to, as far as like actively rep wise, and it's the active rep T3 because that's how Galante work for armor reps. And for me, that all kind of being where it's at and where it's said, I don't really think either of the examples we used are incredibly good. The fact of the matter is you look at the use in the general populace, and I think you're going to end up finding that most of the time a big issue right now is that like the Legion barely gets used, the Proteus barely gets used, and the Tengu is like in a lot of ways relegated to PvE or just like brick bake tank.
Yes, and that brings us back to who do we actually trust with this balance? Because focus group, as we see, can be really hit and miss depending on who is on the focus group, which probably brings us to that maybe it would be best if CCP, instead of trying to balance with their non-existent team, try to assemble focus group that actually knows what they're focusing on. Like they did with T3 Destroyers.
What do you mean? We already assembled the focus group. CCP just has to contact us.
JJ, Scorpion says you're a noob.
Yes, tell him that I know, but at least I'm not Scorpion.
But I have no doubt in my mind that Suetonia told them the truth. Right? He told them the truth and they deliberately chose not to listen to it. Because he is a turbo nerd and he legit told them. I 100% said, like, this shit's OP, and they're like, oh, okay then. Right? That's how it went down.
Yeah, like, we know Suetonia, he's a smart guy, he's a good guy. You know, in fact, he's going to step up and go, no, these are overpowered, these are broken. Like, this is going to be this. Like, we know he's the guy there for us. And yet, hey, CCP needs to find a balanced team. Dude, you got one right fucking there.
Balance is the money thing. They just wanna balance the shit, which like makes dude buy more plexes and skin. It's my fault the game's going to shit because I didn't buy enough extractors and skins for JB, right?
Yes, it was your fault all along.
CCP begins at the mother's house of the devs. Oh my fucking, their mom. I'm done, dude.
Dudes like, I don't know, they like roll tarot cards or whatever, I don't even know, like...
I'm sorry, I'll mute myself. Oh my.
I don't think he's
He
gonna
just
survive
seems
this,
so
by the way.
Yeah, which will bring, since we already said that Suetonia actually did something, this will bring us to point 5 nice and fluidly. I think this CSM Summit is in progress right now, right? It should have started. Yeah.
It is, but it's covered under NDA, so I can't really tell you anything.
Okay. When we think about all this shit that we talk about here, and the one we talked in the last episode, what was the CSM doing?
Actually, for goons, lol, that's what they're doing.
Too. But honestly, when I look at the CSM minutes transcript, okay, it's heavily censored because NDA and stuff, but when you see CSM actually chiming in on topics, it seems that they actually know and that they are actually giving good, well, reasonable inputs. So, does CSM actually do anything? Because even when they do give input as they should, because they are basically the selected focus group for players, CCPA doesn't seem to actually reflect on it, or... Well, as I said, I believe that CSM is a testing group. CCP uses them as guinea pigs. They feed them their latest shit idea, and then they watch if CSM projectile vomits. If they don't, they think that idea is good and ought to be shipped. So what's your take on it?
We still had the Citadel mess. They're like, there's been a few times CSM's been useful, right? Like they had to have them jump and scream at CCP for like weeks to get them to finally admit that there's a problem with Citadels when they first came out. Like we all remember, like even Jintan said, we had to keep bringing them back to it because they would not budge. So there are times they are useful, but like it's almost like CCP doesn't give a fuck anymore. Like, nah, no, we're doing your own thing. We don't really care.
Balance
like,
your
they'll probably have a really good conversation.
non-CCP.
If people brings up, so Tony will bring up balance and explain why things are broken. No one listens. No one do shit.
Part of the problem is when you have a dev or a dev team that's worked on something, you know, for like 3 months, and they bring it over to they bring it to CSM and they're like, take a look, this is CSM, right? You know, what do you guys think, right? Even if CSM looks at them and tells them it's shit, right? The problem is being objective and taking criticism is really hard. I have a difficult time with that. I try my best, but at the same time, when I make something and I love it, and it's hard to take criticism on that, right? So even in the best possible scenario, you're gonna have stuff that is really difficult for CCP to sit back and admit, we just wasted 2 months of our lives.
Hey, are we
And
talking about
that's-
the CSM now?
I'm talking about CCP taking advice and getting feedback from CSM.
Oh, okay.
Does that make
The only thing I
sense?
want to mention about the CSM is why the hell is Goons allowed to be like 80% of the people on there? There should be a limit of how many alliances should have people involved.
That
They
is
don't
so
have
complicated.
alt alliances. It's a
Then
normal
we
thought,
then
but
we just have alt
like
alliances.
the thing is, like, he's bringing up a really strong point there. Previous year there was 7 out of 10 Goonie Goons. This year it's 8 out of 10 Goonie Goons and or pets of them, right? Next year it's gonna be 9 out of 10, and the next year it's gonna be all the goons are just like gonna be like B CSM, right?
Yeah, that's
It's-
rough. That's a hard thing for them to deal with. One, because goons have such populace, I think, in some ways. But I mean, that doesn't mean that they should have as many seats as they do on CSM, in my own opinion. You need to base it on the needs of the community, not just the populace of players and where they lie.
Yeah, I'm going to be the unpopular person here and say that every aspect of EVE should be represented. There should be the null groups, there should be the low sec groups, even the FW groups. Like
Fucking
low and
wormholers
null.
too, man. Don't forget
Yeah,
them.
but also
Like,
high
shit.
sec.
Nah, mate.
Even
I
K-
don't
but
want
high
to
sec's
be seen
fine.
anymore.
The wormholers had a chance to take at least one slot, but the thing is, they split their votes between 3 different wormhole candidates.
I don't know what to say then. I mean,
I
that's
honestly-
rough, dude.
I think the wormhole guys don't want to be seen anymore because, like, wormholes haven't been touched in years. But that being said, that's why wormholes are currently the best space to fucking be in. So I don't think they want to be seen anymore. Just keep hidden. Don't let CCP
No,
see
We
them.
lay low,
Yeah.
dude. We'll
Like,
be
the
good.
wormholers were one of the biggest people to stand up. Like, hey, we don't have like a CSM thing, and then people were like, bro, you guys have one of the smallest player bases, and you split your votes between multiple candidates. Get united on one front. Goons send out a fucking newsletter, be like, hey, this is the order in which you fuckers vote. And then all the line members go, okay. And that's why the goons have so many people. Like, that's
Dude, that's so fucking shady, dude. If that's
no,
the
it's
truth,
not. It's
But
fucking
they were sending the URL
organization. Why would
preloaded. You
not
just
wanna
click
be
the.
organized?
Yeah, that's fair enough, right?
I mean, I guess so, but I don't know how I feel about like. I feel
Yeah,
like
that
if
was like
you,
there should. Pardon. Like,
yeah, I feel like as a player in EVE Online, you should be smart enough to. And God, I'm gonna regret saying this. Sorry, you should be smart enough to form your own opinions. But if that were true, all we would get was Rourke buffs. So I mean, I probably shouldn't say that, but still.
No, I think we can agree that, honestly, basically, I think it should be CCP selecting the candidates themselves, not the
Dear God,
players. There
Dear
should
God, no.
no, I mean no. The
no.
candidates should be the potential candidates should be elected by players, and then from that list, CCP will select whoever they want to buy dinner for them.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
It should be constrained that no one who has at least 10,000 kills, 100,000 FC kills, and extensive experience across the game, across years, should be allowed to ever run for CSM. We should not be in a situation where we get quote-unquote professional politicians running for CSM office, right? That's absurd, right? But like, I mean, do you get where I'm coming from there?
Yeah, and I do agree with that, but I will say Brisk has done a surprisingly good job. But still, that's still like, come on, really?
Dude, I'm ready for the new CSM, the Council of Shit-Talking Management, to come out. Are you guys ready?
Yes, I declare myself president for life. With that, the need for voting is basically taken care of. You can do whatever you want now.
We all went for the JJ. It's all good. Circle
Anyway,
shit talking continues.
anyway, honestly, with how basically CSM is either seen as doing nothing or as being biased, and how basically there's very little trust in CSM from the players, and obviously when CSM minutes ends with some CSM members saying, Okay, we told them what players want, but CCP told us that upper management has different priorities. Do you think that CSM might be the next thing on the chopping block after AT and the FanFest?
Nah,
Well,
they might just move them over to like online conferences, whatever. But they're not gonna get rid of it because it's their puppet. Like they go, oh, this is what we're gonna do. Oh, you don't agree with it? Well, we don't care. We're doing it anyway.
Man,
that's the
Yeah,
thing.
do you
That's what's
think
going on.
what do you think is cheaper? To pay for those dudes to fly to Iceland and to have their accommodations taken care of and
Or run the
everything and
AT?
fly back, or to run the AT?
Well, I would
uh,
actually say it's the same price, but let's better question. Do you think that buying airplane ticket and hotel room for 10 people or so is cheaper than actually hiring proper testing and focus, some company that will do the focus testing and proper quality assurance? I think it's cheaper to just buy some random 10 dudes the dinner.
Yeah, you're probably right. And also, if you release any kind of patch thing, 10,000 nerds will identify bugs there faster than any paid team you can ever form up anywhere, right? I think that's the decent part of why they test it live and not on CC, because it's who gives a fuck about CC? What's that, lol?
I mean, yeah, I mean, sissy devs are sissy devs, dude. They just go around there and they test the bugs themselves. But I mean, I think you're definitely right. If they hand it to the player base, we're gonna identify bugs. But I mean, like, that's more work for them. Why would they want to do that?
Yeah, for real.
And
I mean,
to be fair, like,
it sounds really cynical, but that's how it is. It all comes down to the money, right? It's like, instead of working on getting the full potential of Eve, it's being worked on milking it for the most money in the short-term game and setting up the long-term game of permanent ISK inflation, right?
Well, let's hope that this time CSM will be 10 high-sec level 4 mission runners, because that will represent every player perfectly.
We need at least one robot on the CSM next CSM,
Yes,
right?
yes, I think that we should actually vote 10 random kids with guns bots for our CSM, because that will represent 90% of the player base.
Wait, can you even, do you have to play Eve to be voted in?
You need to submit
Well-
your application yourself. Nobody can submit it on your behalf.
You need to have Omega account to submit the application, so I think you can probably be CSM for price of 1 plex.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm giving someone a call right now. Up high in the U.S. government, dude. I know he'd be perfect for this. He's really great at running campaigns. 1 second, dude. He's gonna fix everything for us.
What,
He's gonna be great again, dude.
So,
Yeah.
so CCP, or CSM. Like, I'd be okay with no CSM, but I don't know. I think qualifying nerds to have on the CSM and then having CCP pull from those, like that pool of candidates is fine. I don't know if then we get a positive experience from the CSM or if it's just more of the same.
I think for me, I just do not trust CCP to look after themselves there at all. It's like, it's trusting your kid with a pack of knives, man. They won't be able to do shit with that.
Yep.
Like, we need, like, there's got to be some way to limit who can get into it, but at the same time, it's still got to be that we choose, not CCP, because otherwise, they're just going to get a little circle of yes men to say them happy things. Not that they listen to them anyway.
It's easy to get a yes if you surround yourself with people who say yes to you, right? That's
No.
But there's these good examples. Like, for example, if you look at old school RuneScape, all the shit is voted on by the entire community, right? It's like,
Yes,
how
agreed.
hard is it to make a fucking Strav poll, right? Make it say, do you wanna nerf Lokis? Yes and no. And like, dudes click that shit and like, it's open for like a week or whatever, and then it's decided, right? and then we can run it into the fucking ground and what?
But I have to believe that CCP will get it right eventually, because if I don't, the other alternative is to find a different game. And let's be honest, there's no game like Eve out there at the moment.
I mean, it's been
it'll
15
be
years, still getting it
like,
wrong.
But it's still living currently, even if other people say otherwise. People still log in, people still explode. The game is fundamentally running.
I honestly believe it survived in spite of CCP, not because of them.
Yes.
Actually, I'm there with
I
that
mean-
one too, man, dude.
Wait,
Fuck
that's like-
CCP. Everybody
I mean,
keep
come on.
playing.
Do we have to say it? Incarnate. Walking in stations.
And
Do we have to say it?
jokingly, I'll say, haha, yeah, we
Yeah.
nerds propped up this game. But in reality, I'm with Otto. Like,
People
I mean,
shit
they-
on CCP.
if they do
all the
zero
time.
things right, then the game dies. Because
Yeah.
we like the perspective thing. We only have the perspective of people that actually like go out in PvP, right? But there's literally tens of thousands of nerds in high sec that fund the like, and we need those nerds to fund the wallets of everyone else. Like,
So
Ah,
let's
crabs. Dirty crabs.
Yes.
So if you actually, I think I agree somewhat, Frank. But part of the issue is though, and I agree with a certain groups of people when they say this. And I think I said earlier, the end game content for PvP in this game is solo small gang based on the difficulty alone. Does that mean that? So I think to say that after AT being released, and I feel like it's not been massive, but the solo small gang community is really hurt because of that, because of how many people left. I think it is a fair statement to say that solo small gang PvP is an ever more dwindling amount of this population. We have far more people leaving on a yearly basis than I think we have joining the ranks of BSB.
But
Nice.
CCP have said themselves,
We don't.
the game is balanced for large warfare. People like us who do solo and small gang, we limit ourselves, so we must at
Yeah.
least understand it's partly our fault, not CCP's.
But here's
They
the thing
can't
as well with
balance
that,
it
though, right?
for
I have
us
to say,
because it'll
Correct.
mess it up for the
Don't
bigger
smoke,
group.
that's bad for your
content
health.
starts at the small end, right? It's not content doesn't start immediately with just a big fight popping out of fucking nowhere. Things start from the low end. The small Roman gang comes in, starts a fight. Another group sees it, joins in. It's always been the snowball. It starts with the small things first, and you can't say, oh yeah, well we're the minority. We know we're gonna get fucked. Well, no, we know we're gonna get fucked, but we're still where the content fucking starts.
Yeah, well, I think
well, no, the big ass wars that happen don't start with us.
no, not anymore. It used to be that might
Used
be
to
the
be
case.
exactly.
But here's part
You
of
can't live
the
in the past.
here's part of the problem though, in saying that the game is balanced towards towards larger fighting, right? Here's the problem in acknowledging that, because that is a true statement. In acknowledging that, you have to recognize two things. One, any big fights that happen right now based off of the amount of ifs that is being made in Delve don't matter anymore because they have no danger because of how quickly everything is getting replaced, right? So you've taken out the high death matters in Eve, and that could be wrong in saying that. It's always a possibility that they're wrong. But more importantly, you acknowledge the fact that the biggest promoters of your game on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis, which are solo PvPers, more people tune in to solo small gang PvPers than Ratters and Care Bears most of the time because
Not
the
true.
content's more interesting, that you don't cater to them. And I understand, and I don't know necessarily if they should, but I think there are quality of life changes that can make it a lot easier to bring more people into that. That way more people can have fun in that realm.
I've got a couple of things to say against that. So, firstly, the small gang section of Eve, we may pull a couple of hundred people in an afternoon. But if you guys remember, I think it was XTAC 4, CTAC L, UALX, there was thousands of people watching people streaming that. That
Yep,
is
I was
nothing
streaming that.
compared
My
to what we
stream was
bring.
on the top of the list, and like
Exactly.
if it wasn't, there'd be like that's a global gaming event which transcends Eve, right? That's the
Right.
strong, how would you say that, selling point of view. You're completely right there. It'd be nice if mechanics encourage such things from happening more often, but everything is so deeply entrenched and super safe and risk adverse that like we've reached a point of degeneracy where dudes are running proxy cold wars in perimeter over fucking sticks there instead of normally fighting in where they should be in that nullsec, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
next
like
thing I have
like
to
thing is
say,
like war's gonna start somewhere, right? Things gonna start. Like, as you said, those big fights there, they don't happen all the fucking time. And sometimes a big brawl can start over some guy tackling a fucking Rorqual.
Yep.
Like there's gotta be
So-
more things that actually form fights. There's nothing there at the moment. Like Citadels have just destroyed any chance of station camping. Like that used to be actually kind of fun for both sides, and I've been on both sides of that shit. Like there's just so little now to actually like force a fight to start. And you're right, most of the EVE is big fights. We all come together to watch the big fight together. We've all been there. We've all done that. But there's nowhere for it to start anymore.
And you guys are still right though. Those big fights draw a global audience, and it does transcend EVE. But that doesn't
Thanks for the
disclude the
host,
fact
my
that
bad.
the main
Let's move
people,
that
the
beef
reason
to-
why Sea of Thieves has blown up strictly is because of one streamer. I think we know who it is. It's probably Summit 1G. The reason why that game has blown up and has been such a big part of the spotlight is, and he's doing a day-to-day grind on that game, right? There are still events in that game that are huge and do take place, but your primary promoters for this game are going to be that. Sure, you'll read the blogs and stuff, and you'll hear stories about, BTEC-R or BR or whatever the bloodbath was, and like you will acknowledge that, and that does bring people into the game, but that's not the same as the day-to-day grind. So that's another thing too, is like you're selling this almost semi-fictitious idea of what the game is, because you don't get those big fights all the time, and then you run into an even worse problem where like people join the game and they end up mining in 5 minutes out in nullsec, and like that's not what the game's about. So you have two ways you can go when you start. You can go do that, or you can actually go get vested in PvP a little bit or something like that. I think that reaches into some deeper issues with EVE in general though.
That actually nicely covered most of point 6. And
I've got one more
Dice.
thing.
Yeah, go ahead, Otto.
So another thing that DTM mentioned was Goons several times saying that they could whelp hundreds of Titans fleets and all that lot. But what everyone's forgetting is that when everyone bound together under the casino to evict them, Goons took the better part of a year sitting quietly in Delve, building an industrial powerhouse. That's why they're so far ahead of everyone, because they took the time to do so. And at the moment, Legacy are doing the same thing. They're following Goons, their allies, because they've seen how an industrial backbone can make you stronger. So it's not just the Rorqual buffs that messed with it, it's also the fact that the leadership of Goons actually took the time out to work things out properly.
Yeah, no, for
The
sure,
big
they're
chunk of it, though, is the very
min-maxers.
start of it. When Rook was so overpowered, Goons got on that bandwagon immediately. They got the
Oh, I
ability to
agree.
just like jump on whatever's good and do it.
That leads us to that last
That was
point of the... Yeah. Something, Frank?
That was smart for them to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was...
Everyone understands that, right? Like,
Yeah,
what
I'm not gonna
the
go
Goons
into that
did
at all.
was very smart.
Yeah, something
And what they
overpowered.
continue to do is very smart. They make low bar for entry, and they as soon as people join, they give them a rail system like get into a VNI, get into a carrier, get into a super, get your Titan and Faxalt. This is what you need if you need guidance, which like 95% of people do, right? This is the streamlined system we made for you. Use our logistics service right in our systems. If you get tackled, press Sino, say jump here. Like everyone understands that's like they did that, and that's a good thing that they did, right? Because that's an organization being organized. It sucks for like us wanting to like tackle shit, but it's a good thing for the organization, right? Like that's...
No, yeah, it's a pro move, but just because they've min-maxed that doesn't mean that it's inherently healthy for the game.
Yeah, at all.
It's healthy for Goons. It's healthy for Goons. Props to Goons, guys. They have a logistical backbone that fucking surprises. I think even real corporations could take some pointers from what they've managed to create. Don't get me wrong. It's just, let's move on to the next point though.
Yeah, we actually covered most of point 6, but I will finish it. how this is it. Goons have people that are good at organizing things. They have the FCs. Lots of big blocks have the FCs and people that are good at organizing. At the same time, those same people that you need to actually make things happen, because most of people do not want to create their fun themselves. That's so, well, and Sandbox is pretty barren when you are not the kind of guy that goes and builds shit out of sand to yourself. And there's very little people actually stepping up through the same ladder. And most of them are slowly but surely going inactive or quitting. So once all of the old FCs and all of the old organizing guys either burn out or just settle down once and forever in one organization, who will take up? Who will continue? Where will the stories come from? Because honestly, in last years, I don't see many new FCs. I don't see many new people that would, well, not be starting their own comps and alliances. People do it all the time, but doing it right, actually leading. We have less and less of those people. And without them, the sandbox will die pretty fast, because most people do not want to create their fun. So you need people that create fun for others. Where do we
And
get
those people
them?
go out in Rome and get dunked by the nearest capital group. It's
Yeah,
just kind of that's the
for
problem
real,
with it.
that's like
You can try and be a content creator, like, yeah, I'm gonna make a fleet and go have some fun, and then you'll go into someone's space because everywhere else is fucking empty, and then 5 minutes later you're gonna get dunked by like a full fucking fleet, like 250 guys, or you're gonna get bosuned off the fucking gate. Like the problem is that the content is so hard to get solo, let alone fucking in fleets. A fleet's a bigger target.
Well, like
It
let's think.
sucks.
Fleet
Yeah.
fights are easier to get content.
Agreed.
They
Easy to get
sort
dunked
of-
too.
They sort of
you
are.
just go to a staging and you just sit there. Like go
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
like
getting dunked is not content as far as I'm concerned. It's like saying getting bosuned
is
off the gate
content,
is
though.
content. It's not.
It is content. It's not the
It
content
is.
you want, but it's content.
It's content
Yeah,
for them,
it's-
not for you.
exactly.
So why would
It's
you
not
just think? Why
content
would you
you
form a
want,
fleet if
but
you're
it
gonna
is
get dunked
content.
every single time, right? That's the
But
thing.
I can speak as an FC. When JJ made PL Dot, we moved down to Curse, and I'm sure JJ can tell you, I FC'd every single evening for over a month, and I burnt out because it's a pretty difficult job. Like, you are constantly working out where to go, what you're doing. Streamers often become FCs because they talk a lot. They are used to handling with people. But there's so many things going through your head as you are moving your fleet around, trying to find a fight, trying to not get worried about how many jumps you have to go, or worrying about that twat who just can't keep up aligned and all that lot. But at the end of the day, in my experience, FCing is not rewarding for a long-term thing.
yeah, it like
I've
leads
been-
to a lot of burnout, friend. You're completely right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've FC'd Black Ops, I've FC'd Small Gang, I've even tried my hand at null block stuff, and all of it I found fun, but all of it was extremely draining. And after each major fight I took part in, I would take a week or so off just to get over the fact that I made a load of mistakes or people weren't happy with my decisions, which happens a lot. You make a choice as an FC, you expect people to be like, right, you're in charge, we believe you, we trust you to make the right one. But heaven forbid, if you make the wrong mistake, you get 30, 40, 50, even 100 people in the big groups telling you you're crap because you made a tiny mistake.
Yeah, definitely needs a thick skin, right? Man, like, don't get me wrong, like, I have over 100,000 FC kills and stuff across the fleets which I ran, served as the FC, right? That would be the correct way to say it. And like, it comes down to wanting to help your people. If like your people reach out to you and they want things, it's like, it's my duty to hook them up, kind of ish. I'm gathering life, and I would like to run fleets every day, but I don't have the life energy to run it. I just like need to find some innocents and suck their life energy so I can like run fleets on the fucking reg and feed to some shit blob, which he was saying like a moment ago, and what. Like, we get like drones and shit going 25 kilometers per second and shit, like come on now. Like,
And let's admit that we're aging. We were the upcoming young generation. Now we're the outgoing old generation. So
Part of it too is the risk adversity of the general populace has gone up, right? Like I'm a junior FC inspector, right? And like I tried for my first month or two in there to get guys to go out and meme fleets, and I'm talking like battle mining fleets, stuff like that. Stuff where there is no expectation to perform. If you even get one kill, it's the fucking funniest shit because they just died to 6 procures and, like a porpoise or something. And getting people in to do that and getting people to go out on these these non-risk adverse fleets where most likely everyone's going to die because you're all in fucking procures is like difficult stuff to do. People expect FCs to perform at a level that's unrealistic, like you guys are saying. And not just that, on their own accord, they don't want to go out on these fleets where, you're going to die, which is goes back to part of the problem where like, if you're not going out on like a major FC null block roam and you're deploying against somebody who's also deploying against you, you might not have a good time finding content. You're probably just going to get dunked. It's like pretty unhealthy, the whole state of it. It's hard. It's really difficult. I respect the Spectre FCs who go out and they do that shit on a daily basis and
For
try to
real.
bring content
Yes,
to
yes.
people who might not get it otherwise.
Fuck yeah, the MPSI and the Spectre fleet deserve a major shout out. They're like trying super hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a little thing about. Sorry, JJ. When
Go
I
ahead.
was part of Volition Cult, we deployed to Aquarius for whatever reason, but I took the Black Ops wing up there. So that was about 35 to 40 people in Black Ops battleships and bombers. And we'd just go out, we'd spend a couple of days hunting, come back down home, rat a bit, go back up. And there was this one time where there was only 4 of us, and we went out in battleships and we tackled 5 smart bomber Macarios. We killed them. One got away because he was stabbed, prick, but we killed the 4, and it was about 7.2 bill worth of loot that dropped, and I split it between us. The very next fleet, the very next day, I had 50 people in fleet, but we caught nothing that day, not even a scepter on a gate. And the amount of hate mail I got because I didn't provide content because they expected to be killing smart bomber Macarios every bloody fleet, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. Let's wrap it up unless someone.
Hold on, I have a question for Otto. So what do you have an idea of what would have lessened or mitigated the burnout for you, or what would have made it rewarding for you as an FC, like to prevent the burnout?
You need proper support from the people you're running fleets for, because at the end of the day, you are doing the Alliance or the Corp or whatever you're doing it for a huge favour, because stepping up as an FC takes a ton of guts. And as was mentioned earlier by Jebby, you have to have a hard skin, because no matter what you do, you're going to get people hating on you. The least your Alliance can do is support you, try and make your job easier, bringing down the ships for you, even forming the fleet or saying thank you for the fleet, good job, or anything like that would make it
Or
a lot
stepping
easier
up to be a
for the
scout
FC.
or have logi or something. Yeah, people got to do stuff as well. You can't just be the FC doing everything. People got to
'cause-
step up and help out as well.
Dude, scouts are hard to good scouts are hard to find too. Oh
Yeah,
my
and like
freaking
that's the
God.
thing.
I remember Pothney saying he had a Logi FC back for his old Demos doctrine that he had. He would not fly without that Logi FC because he was just like they had it perfect together. He didn't have to worry about the Logi. Logi would be doing their job perfectly. Someone's got to step up and help out the FCs.
Yeah, I had that support because at the very beginning on all my fleets, I was the Sino Hunter, I was the Scepter, I was always first in and making decisions in a Scepter or the least tankiest ship going. Then I met a guy called John who stood up and started doing the routes for me, and we gained that sort of relationship where he knew exactly what I wanted and I knew exactly what he wanted, and it turned out to be not just me FCing, but it
Kinky.
was John doing it as well. Exactly, kinky. Think of it like having a girlfriend and knowing exactly what she wants. I won't go there because of terms of service, but at the end of the day, a core group supporting you is all you need. So my most recent FC experience would have been when our Fortizar got attacked and I had 50 dudes in my fleet and I had no idea what the hell I was doing, but I had people supporting me from everywhere, and that made a difference. I had people from Minmill, Jebby will know him, a lot of Ushra Khan come along and said, look, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, but you're doing that right, you're doing that right. And you learn. And not one of the people in that fleet was upset that we didn't get much content. I mean, we killed like 7 ships, if that, but at the end of the day, the big hammer wasn't dropped on us like we was hoping for the content generator. But because people were more supportive on that fleet, it was a lot easier to deal with. Like, I knew I could say to, for example, I could get JJ to do like fitting, I could get Nax to give out ships, I could get a load of people to do stuff, and I knew for 100%, as soon as I said everyone on dock, everyone would be in the right ship, in the right fit, ready to go, because I had people supporting me with it.
Yes, I think that people are sometimes forgetting that this is multiplayer game and sort of cooperative kind of multiplayer. You're honestly people that do not want to step FC at least have to support their FC. But I guess that maybe we're just the old guard and some people just probably don't really have the means or the time to do it anymore. But let's stop getting sad and let's start getting mad instead. We will move on to point 7. And that's open your Neocom. Do it right now. And now find me your fitting management. Or no, find me your structure browser.
Found it.
You see where I'm going? Yes.
It's horrible.
Well, CCP is feeling reluctant to do something good like actually make the Neocom colored again. They at last did the nice thing of moving the icons around for no fucking reason whatsoever and doing all many other questionable UI changes. Let's
I've
not
got something
even
to say about UI when possible.
Well, do you think that at this point it's whoever is responsible for UI just like waking up once a year and saying, oh shit, we didn't do anything, they're gonna fire us?
Mrs.
Yeah,
fucking
it's
Claus,
that
mate, once a year.
plus making it all hip and modern and you know, like in the spirit of the times and whatever bullshit is like popular these days, right? We're gonna be like, we're getting a blockchain driven mobile gaming user interface, whatever the fuck, right? That's the predicament there. The interface should be optimized for either being nice and normal and useful, or it should be optimized to make dudes spend money, right? Either one of those two things, right? If you want to look at an example of an interface which is optimized to make dudes spend money, have a look at Black Desert Online, right? If you want to look at an interface which is like all normal and useful and shit, have a look at Aurora 4X, right? That's like an extreme example, but like it's still a good example.
Can we go back to
Colored Neocom? No, because no.
no
For some reason.
the single colored links? That's all I want back, dude. I just want to bait people again.
You cannot, because obviously somebody from CCP got baited into joining Gay Mexicans channel, and so now you. Yes. I'm sorry, but yes, gay Mexicans population will decrease rapidly, I'm afraid, for no reason. But yes, CCP seems to be hell-bent on doing UI changes for sake of making some change that nobody really needed, or nobody liked even. And meanwhile, the suggestions like bringing back the colored Neocom are ignored, and I guess that UI team is doing their job then.
Well, recently, I've been
Yeah,
talking to this. I'm not going to say their name because it's a little personal. They've got sight problems, and basically, they can only see shadows. Meaning, if you were in front of a light, they would be able to see your outline, as in a shadow. And they can see their monitor this way, but they need the colors to be a certain color. And CCP has introduced recently a mode that means that this person can now play Eve with very minimal issues. They can play it just as well as we can, where we have full sight, but they don't have full sight. So a lot of the UI changes, at least with the coloration and the rest of that, is actually aimed at people who can't see properly.
If you click
So here's the
escape
thing with
under
that.
general settings, you have colorblind moduses which you can calibrate to specifically what you need, right?
Yes,
Exactly.
you can make.
Point,
They
I guess.
literally have the ability to do that. They don't need to have for everyone. If someone has a problem with their eyesight, they actually have that ability, as JB said, to actually change it to however they need.
It was something recently that CCP done that this person has said has really helped their ability to play. I don't know personally what that was because I've stopped paying attention to updates to the game. Because
Well,
why
they
not?
added 2 bigger font sizes in the context menu.
Hey, that was the
So-
push from the 4K dudes with the 4K monitors. They were like giving them too much money to be ignored.
Yes, but why not give the new players something like working overviews preset for change? Like,
Oh my
at last, anything that is not default overview. Anything, honestly.
You know, I think at the end of the day, I agree with you, JJ. They're like doing. I think what happens is like once every 5 years, they go through and they like check everything that's been going on. You know, they like internally audit everybody, and like the audit was just so happened to be coming up in 2020. So the UI guy's got to be like fucking busting his ass now because he's just been sitting in his fucking room playing Minesweeper or Minecraft or whatever for the last 4 years. So I mean. And you know what, dude? About damn time. It's good to see that at least they're changing some things. Like the colorblind mode thing really makes me excited to hear
Yes,
about.
yes,
Like,
you can
that's
make Eve
fantastic.
all pink. I'm not even
Fucking,
kidding.
dude, I'm doing it right now, stream. You guys
Yeah,
get
I
ready.
do love you.
boys.
Make Evil
We
pink,
did
man.
it.
It's
You
great.
can find VODs of that. That was unbelievable. We played in pink mode for like 2 or 3 vlog entries when they introduced the colorblind mode. It's legit
I
hilarious.
remember that.
You're like, oh, that dude's purple in local, that dude's purple in local, that dude's purple, everyone's fucking pink in local. Am I shooting a pink dude or a pink dude, man? Who the fuck knows?
You can tell who's good. Yeah. Who's in good standing? Who's enemies? I don't know.
they're
Just
all
shoot
pink.
them all.
Well, just fucking shoot them all, GG.
You're now going to
Shoot
get
them all.
people go to their alliance.
Let the
then.
kill board sort them out.
I still like in
You're
pink. I think I will enforce pink overview in is gay. But
See, everyone's pink. Who do I shoot?
Yeah,
the
check
pink
that shit
people.
in that Twitch chat. Can you tell me who's blue and who's not blue there? I mean,
I mean,
I think the excuse to AWOX now. Sorry, FC, I was in colorblind mode.
oh, godlike. Man, that's a good shit right there.
Dude, that's what happened to me on Wingnut's fight, dude. Bjornsson showed up. He's like, well, they're both pink, so I mean, shit.
That's right. It was gonna go that way anyway.
Yo, I'll see you next death race if I'm still in stream fleet, man.
and will it be in pink oracles? That's important.
I'd
Yeah.
buy pink Oracle skins for sure.
There is pink oracle skin, I think. Yeah.
Right? It was
Yeah.
like the first one of the wave of the pink.
Oh man,
Yes,
I've
I've
been living
been.
under a rock.
There's been a lot of pink skins actually recently, like a disturbing amount of pink skins. I don't know what's going on at CCP.
I don't
Can't
know,
I'm
but
so curious.
I mean,
Fucking cash, money. Like,
but why isn't there pink thorax? I mean, it makes sense. I want pink thorax.
I'm pink and I wanna die.
You'll get us all banned. because it's
Do you want to
forest.
fly a giant pink space dildo?
How did you know?
Whoa, dude! I just got demonetized. Thanks, Wing. Nah.
You were monetized in the first place. Someone's doing the fucking job.
Either way,
Right?
since we're already shit talking about this, we can start shit talking about point 8 as well, because that's part of UI changes. How do you like the agency?
I never
Dude, they're
lost it in
changing
my
it again,
life.
dude.
I had to drop it.
Hate it.
Yes,
I also hate it.
but obviously someone's wife at CCP likes it, because I do not honestly cannot explain why else it's still alive.
They literally are changing it again to try and like get us to adopt this thing. It's like they've like are force feeding us this load of like baloney, dude. Half the stuff in the activity tractor. The only reason I ever go in there is for escalations. That's it.
Same.
Is it within 3
I
jumps?
actually don't know what it is. I don't bloody use it. Like, what the fuck? Why would I give a shit?
What was wrong with the system before? That's my only question, dude. Is it like is it because we're all PvPers and like it's just like
the system before was
easy.
very functional, and basically everyone understood it. That's why we had to change it. It's only obvious,
No,
logical.
I don't understand how this game works.
Man, I never opened the agency or the activity tracker in my life. At least not deliberately, lol. So I can't really pipe into that,
accident,
right?
fuck.
But like, what the fuck's that supposed to be? Every now and then I get a notification. You completed 700 jumps. Congrats on the achievement, Ailmail. That might be some kind of primitive attempt of copying the World of Warcraft achievement whoring
Achievements,
thing. Yeah. But it's like so horribly done. It's like, what the fuck, lol. I mean, like, only the worst kind of Care Bears are gonna be interested in that, and even they're
You
gonna be looking
traveled
forward from
5
that.
jumps. Here's an achievement.
Yeah.
Honestly, does the achievement thing even like direct people towards things they can do in Eve, or is it just random? Because I saw achievement for visiting different region. Okay, you get that when you leave your starter system, I guess, and I see achievement for orbiting something, and that's very useful. They tell it in tutorial, don't they? Like, okay, what's even the point of the activity tracker? Does it track anything that anyone's even
My
cares
question
about?
is, does it track after you reach 5? Like after you reach level 5 of something, does it still track?
Yes, and it sends the data straight to Google, and they will send you
So, like,
better orbit button.
I have 5 for number of non-capsulated ships
Online
destroyed.
minutes.
So the crabbing fucking thing, right?
You
I have
to
100%. Does it keep going after the max? Because if it does, then it's just like the like stats, the year-end stats that we used to pull. I got that from you, Jebby, your stream. Someone pulled the program to pull like your yearly stats.
Yes, I remember that thing,
Okay.
right?
So there's just an in-game way to view that, and that's fine. Like, I love looking at those year-end stats, 2017, 2016 stats. I thought that was cool to look at. So I'm fine with it being in-game and accessible rather than through a third-party site. And that's how I guess I'll look at the activity tracker, is that I'll be able to see in-game.
Our good buddy
version of that.
Zzoom was telling a good thing in that Twitch chat. He was saying it's an instant gratification attempt thing. And he's not wrong.
One of my viewers just said, the activity tracker keeps telling me I'm a cool boy for taking all these drugs.
Whoa.
To be really honest, though, he also says, no joke, you traveled 700 jumps and had no good fights in between is more like it. That would be an interesting thing. I'd love to see the average amount of fights in between getting dunked by 20 carriers.
I mean, I get that some sort of achievement system and the activity tracker would be pretty nice addition if it actually tracked
Don't smoke.
something
That's bad for you.
more useful than what it really tracks, or if you had some way of sorting through it or searching through it, if it wasn't just tree that tells you, okay, you've traveled this far.
I think CCP just needs to take inspiration from the best feature they've implemented in the last 15 years of EVE, which is the ship spinner tracker.
Oh yeah.
You talk about a feature that's actually used like on a daily basis by every pilot in EVE Online. That's it right there. Do more shit like that.
totally not
When you
doing it right
dock
now.
your Aeon super carrier in a Keepstar, you can't actually spin it.
Yes.
It breaks my heart.
Oh,
I
can't win any
cry every
super.
time.
good. Fuck them, dude. Fuck 'em. Look at me, I need to ship spin while I wait for my next dank hot drop so I can kill some random solo streamer. But I can't spin my fucking ship. CC, please.
But you know, at least if you got a fucking medal for the activities or something, if they gave you not kill mark, but if there was a number on your pod that said I was spotted this many times, okay, I would.
Yes, please.
I guess at least it would like give some incentive for people to do things, but a small pop-up in bottom of your screen or wherever you dragged your notification icon
Yeah,
is
that
probably make more people just right-click and disable than anything. Like,
But with these statistics, I like the fact they're tracking it, but I don't think they're doing it the right way. As Frank said, there's a program that let you pull yearly stats, so you could compare the 2 years to see how well or how active you were. I liked that idea because you could see, like, oh, you killed this year, you killed that year. Why? Or maybe if you've done a load of ratting last year, why shouldn't I try PvP this year, or vice versa?
Our good buddy Rishva made that thing updated for the ESI API. You know the dude who made the fucking
Pirate's
the
Little
Pirate's
Helper?
Little Helper. Yeah.
Is
So
he in your
that-
chat? Tell him I said thank you.
I say thank you to him every time I see him. That tool single-handedly generated so much solo PvP and content. C-Speech should literally give him money, right? There should be like, thank you for carrying
want
our
PvP
shit
content.
game. Yeah, but like he also like made that website thing. So if you wanna pull your stats, go to his website and check it out there. Right? It's like Rishva something. I don't remember the URL from the top of my head. I can like pull it up, but like.
I linked the character stats thing in the Shittalking, the SIS channel.
Yeah,
It's not
fuck yeah.
It's not working right now. Like it says error pulling character info, but I pulled it up a couple times after I saw it in your stream, Debbie.
Yeah, but that was like a good and normal thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, within reason-ish. It all comes down to like giving Care Bears a pat on their back and be like, oh, you did a thing, here's a participation medal, fuck yeah. Right?
and then don't even give you the medal. Like mean sort like achievement systems sort of give you medal or something to put on your wall or like
I
title.
won so many medals on my character, he goes like a fucking African dictator, man. We
if
lean
it-
to the side from all the
If it gave you the title like Master Ship Spinner, I would be spinning like crazy just to get it. I mean, at
Oh,
least-
dude, that's the next AT, dude. It's not even undocking. It's just ship spinning.
Lol.
Who can ship spin the most in 60 seconds wins.
Yeah,
Already.
did you know that when it hits 10,000, it becomes light blue in color?
Yes, because you won.
Oh.
You won Eve. You haven't undocked in 36 hours. You win.
Wait, I'm not sure if you're trolling.
No.
There's only one
It's
way to
JJ.
find out.
Yeah, try and find out.
36-hour ship spinning stream. That's what I'm doing at 500 followers. That's my plan
Do
now,
it.
dude.
Do it now,
Fine, I'll
don't
be
wait.
there.
I will watch it.
I need to see this
Either
number.
way,
And
anyone.
Otto is trying to say a normal thing for a while now. Please
Okay,
just say
then.
it.
Say it.
Was I?
Yeah, but was it normal? It doesn't have to be normal.
Oh, what,
Just
with
say it.
the statistics being sectioned by years and just better presented.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
genuinely don't know any achievement gallery that is this horrible to use. I was all for the stats when they first got added, but the way they've done it is more a hindrance than anything. You have to search quite a lot to find exactly what you want, and even then it won't always tell you.
I want to see a feature implemented in the activity tracker which encourages people to go to low sec and null sec. Well, like mining in low sec. 1 out of 5. I think that would be really great. I think it would be great for a lot of people. It would encourage PvEers to try and avoid PvPers and PvPers to try and kill PvEers. I mean, I got debated last night by an orca, so I'm probably not at liberty to talk about this. I felt bad, dude. We're not gonna go into it. I'm gonna cry right now. I should just leave. But I mean, I think there are like interesting ways of combining activities to encourage content, because maybe people actually want those medals and that kind of thing. And I think that is something that CCP could look into, but I don't know how much they really are.
It will be probably left by the roadside like one of the many things that were never meant to be, as is usual with CCP, which will bring us straight to point 9, when we're already talking about things that were not meant to be. And that's that CCP is either working on another, or maybe it's just nobody wanted to work on it, so they're advertising again and again. Action MMO using Unreal Engine 4. They're looking for somebody who's experienced with Unreal Engine 4, who's very good at game development, and who knows what balance is. That's basically the sum of it. So we know it's not Eve. So
Like, oh my god, wait, this is gonna work so well this time.
will it join the ranks of, you know, every other CCP game that's not Eve, as the thing that was not meant to be, or was just shortly? Or will it be another mobile game? And will it be shit? And how shit it will be? And honestly, will it ever be at any point? Let's think about it. And I think this deserves a round of applause. Please clap.
But it's dead for sure, right? There's no way they'll pull off any kind of normal game, right? They like, come on now. There'll be like a miracle.
I
I'm
think
hopeful
Thanks for the dang bits.
that the fact that after the first testing of the game they were doing, they had to take it out completely from the public eye, makes me feel that while I'm hopeful, it's probably not going anywhere, unfortunately.
I think
I mean,
a couple
it's
things
CCP.
are. Oh, sorry. I think a
No,
couple
that's all
things
good.
that are super duper interesting to look at is CCP's track record. Eve Valkyrie was championed by the what's the big VR headset, guys? Help me. The Oculus Rift?
Yeah, the
It was
Oculus.
It was like championed. It was like one of the best games for it, but like it's not been like a commercial success or anything like that. Dust 514 for some reason was like put on a platform that was about to literally just go inactive.
It was already dead.
Yeah.
The platform was already dead.
And like the new shooter they're making, despite it being at Vegas, they haven't put it in the hands of anybody who actually, like, they have people, aka their populace, which they could hand it to test, and you could sign up for this beta.
Well, they did.
They
They
did,
handed
but
it to people at FanFest, and the people at FanFest said it was terrible, and they took it from the public's eye to hopefully rework it.
no, that's
That
fine.
was their testing.
But
yeah, like it's boring as fuck. No one's gonna play that. It's like
Exactly
come
what
on
everyone
now.
said, yeah.
If they
If
do
they
it,
kept
if
it
they
Halo
want
3.
dudes to play a mobile game on their mobile phones, give us like PI like Factorio, and then dudes will be like buying Plexes just to play that dumb thing, right? For sure, right? There's like many venues where you can like integrate into the game normally and in a interactive way and stuff, and like instead dudes are just running shit into the ground. Dust would have been the most played first person shooter of all time, dwarfing both fucking Call of Duty series and Battlefield series, and like to be literally the best shooter of all time, right? But it had to be ran into the fucking ground to chase short-term profits, right? It's just like history repeats itself over and over again. All of this has happened before and will happen again, right? And then after like, and that's all our, that's all our investments. We buy Plexes on good faith that it'll be used on making Eve better, right? But it gets used on
VR punk.
bullshit, right?
Remember, VR punk. That was the last game from CCP.
My dude, like, they wanted to debate me into streaming that. I got a brain aneurysm, lol. I was like, thank you, friends, I'm good.
I think a huge. Anyways, so like go back to the track record and what they've done, and I totally agree. They could have done a lot of things better. I think as developers, they've done one good thing, and they've made a game that's not like any other game. And the fact that they're trying to make games that are like other games are bad. The thing that they're most successful outside of Eve is a game that's not like any other for the VR headset. So why are they? I don't understand the concept. I understand the need to diversify, but you don't get any carryover from your fan base. The CCP fanboys are Eve fanboys. Like it's not like EA or any other developer where your fanboys are a fanboy of the developer, so they'll just go play your game because you developed it. I mean, we might. That's why all their games are set in the Eve universe, because they can't break free of it.
Yeah, they're also trying to kill Eve, it seems, at the same time. Like, come on, mate. Just make Eve fucking great. That's all you gotta do, boys.
Eve has such a great potential, he's completely right. But instead of working on realizing the potential, it's being worked on realizing the short term as much money we can fucking milk. Right?
Hey, Mom!
You know.
Get the microtransactions in the loot boxes!
Oh.
Yeah! We need them now! CCP's going downhill! Yeah, I got it.
But-
Sorry. She's on her way.
But it's too late. Their first mobile game already tanked. It's dead. And the second mobile game, let's give it a few months. They still haven't released it. But, well, I think that we have been getting mad enough. So we can move to the last point, where we unleash the last bit of stream of our shit talk. Unless somebody still has something to say, or somebody wants to actually tell us that they will be the developer that's skilled in Unreal Engine 4 and knows about game balance, just so we can tell you to kill yourself. No?
That'd probably be a bit too far on Twitch.
Yeah. In that case, we're moving to the final point. The Mining Simulator 2019. In other words, Eve. This is a free-for question, so just unleash it. You have the pointers, just unleash yourself.
Wait, I have to
baby.
read.
What?
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 Mining simulators?
Yes.
So, yeah, they will be trying to get people in that wants to mine, because at the end of the day, that's what they've just advertised. They've just advertised, I think it's like tens of trillions being mined in game currently. That's not something a PvP is ever going to be interested in. And unfortunately, Empire building is exactly what CCP have marketed the game for. They said that you can come into the game and build an empire and fight with the top people without actually going through all the steps to make that thing happen.
Not the top people, the biggest people.
Same thing, really, isn't it? If you've got the biggest stick, you're a top person. I mean, look at
No.
Goons, look at Legacy.
The top assumes you're the best, right? The best pilots in Eve.
No.
Don't fly
That just
around
means
in
you're up there,
Titans.
up above everyone
No.
else, because no one can touch your fleet.
I
mean,
feel
the top
like
person
that's
doesn't need to be the best PvPer because he employs the best PvPers.
that's a good point. That's a good
Or the
point.
biggest stick in this case.
Yeah.
But
Why
I'd love
would-
to see
why
us
would-
solo PvPers fight a big blob of supers. It's impossible for us.
Yeah.
no, that's okay. But to say that you're the best PvPer because you fly around in supers, aka, in my opinion, the top PvPer, right? The top players in the game aren't people who aren't the people who are going out in supers.
But
To
we're
me,
not
the
talking
most
about
value
players.
is in solo small gang PvP.
Okay.
talking about the
So
top
it's back
entity.
to the thing though. CCP and the majority of people know that the game is balanced around large fleet warfare.
That's fine.
That's how ECM was balanced.
Like we take the disadvantage because
Yeah.
we like the thrill of the game.
No,
And the fact that we
I
stream as well.
understand, and I don't disagree with you. But in my opinion, the top PvPers, right, should if you're gonna market that, you're gonna fly with the best pilots in the game because you've mined. That's not proper marketing.
Yes,
So it
and
is because it's what people want right now.
yes, and honestly, that do you think that it's some sort of a desperate attempt to try to lure more casual audience into Eve, and that audience is not coming? Eve is not game
Well,
that
they've obviously fucked everyone else, so I think that's all they can do.
is that some
Yeah.
sort of attempt at dragging more people into Eve? Because honestly, what I saw on Jestertrack's numbers think the numbers are pretty much stagnant. New people don't come into Eve, and if they do, they don't stay too long. So that's some sort of attempt at shifting the game towards some more casual experience, because honestly that doesn't work with how Eve is made. It's a bit too set in rails by now.
But to
Yeah,
be
like
honest,
it's
though,
a paradigm shift. They wanna focus on making a bunch of players log in every day, do a bit of mining, get their activity tracker tick thing, then like give them money for injectors and shit for like the second, third, fourth, and Rorca vault. It's a pure business decision. It's not a like. It takes some bit of foresight and perception to perceive that a single FC generates more good plexes and money in the same way and regard if the game is close structured like that. But if the game is structured that like dudes are perfectly safe in their shit rorcals under their shit care-bearing umbrellas or whatever, then like that's what they wanna do, right? That's where they wanna milk their fucking money from. You get what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense.
it does. But the one thing you guys have to remember, when Eve first started, I'm sure everyone here has heard that it was like walking into a cliff, being thrown off it, and then being told to learn how to swim at the same time. It's
Yeah.
very, very brutal. The game is still brutal. You can grab a ship you spent 3, 4 days mining or ratting for in high sec, and you can go out and lose everything within the next hour of getting that ship.
Yeah, it's
still
legit
got the
pay to
brutal part
lose,
of it.
right? If you want a credit card warrior, super on day 0, you'll just eat shit my firetail because you don't know how to launch your drones or anything.
Or to a beam Algos.
Man, too
But
soon,
that's
friend, too
perfect though,
soon.
because that dude was in 150 billion ISK. I think it was a Chromos, wasn't it? And he
Yeah.
died to a beam Algos that had no point.
But
The
that's only
Algos was brand
shows.
new. The dude in the Chromos had billions, maybe even trillions of ISK, and he still lost to a ship worth 5 mil.
But it
There's
was
the
an
stories you hear
Algos.
about too, right? That there, like that's part of what we play. That's all we're there for, really. Shit like that
Yeah,
can happen. That's Eve. But
A 1 in a
it's just
million
like
chance.
they're not
That's
marketing
why
to
we
that at
can't
all.
fight.
The
But
dudes
if
selling
they
plexes
market-
creamed themselves on that day. They were like, oh, fuck yeah. That's
So,
some good
the
shit.
reason-
That's exactly what we want.
The reason they're not marketing to it, right, is compare the amount of solo PvPers okay, to the population of players.
Yeah, just
Right?
look at the
We are a
last
very
major
small
fight.
minority, and if you want your game to grow, you want numbers. You don't necessarily. You want to appeal to the masses.
Yeah, that's the consequence of the meta game. If the meta was adjusted to be different, then it would like encourage more such behavior. It's like Frank brings a really good point there. It's it's not hard to assume that they're incompetent, but at the same time, it's not hard to assume that they're super greedy, right? And if he sees a wee bit more money at one side, he'll be like, let's go into that shit, boys. Right? It's not like...
Frank, Monkey, I understand everything you guys are saying, and I do agree. My whole statement and argument is the idea that because you've mined and you're flying in a super, you're flying with the top PvPers in the game. I
That's
feel
not
is
what we said.
I
We
know.
said the top entity, which is the top group. At the end of the day,
I
You look
know,
at the
and I'm
last major
saying that
fight-
when you market towards the top, right, and you say that you're going to go fly with the top guys in the game, right? And you could take that as an entity, right? But a lot of people aren't going to imagine that when you're coming in from never playing Eve. I'm not flying with the top entity. I'm flying with the best pilots in the game. When I think when I walk into any game, I think the best guys in the game. I don't think the biggest entity or the guys with the most ISK. And that's not anything that is based on in-game or who has more ISK or who's actually the best PvPers or anything like that. That's just based on how they've decided to market that, if that's literally what they're saying.
Yep.
Do you guys remember during the casino war? There was
Did you just
maybe
say that?
hundreds of people come into the game asking who the biggest entity were. People would be like, oh, everyone against Scoons. And the next thing you know, this dude has been in the game for 5 minutes. Next thing you know, he's in one of the major, like the most biggest major battle to ever take place in EVE on a soft warfare scale. They won't ever appeal to the PvPers like us because at the end of the day, as Frank said, we're nothing. We're tiny compared to the ocean.
And you're right. Compared like populace wise, you're right. But I go back to your top promoters outside of the AT, which happens once a year, right? And the huge fights, which happen 2 or 3 years. Outside of that, your top promoters for your game are all PvPers.
Yeah, and that's why they came to us when the Abyss came out. And it wasn't all PvPers, they went to everyone. Because obviously the Abyss was a major part of the game. They came to the streamers first. They're like, look, we want to sponsor some of you to do the Abyss. We'll give you this or that. And in return, you'll get this and that for your viewers and stuff like that. But streamers, no matter what, will always be one of the biggest promotions out there. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, the way we decide to play EVE is never going to bring more people in than a null block entity mining hundreds of trillions or whatever it was of ore a month, because at the end of the day, that's what people want this day. They want to be able to be part of an empire and build something meaningful to them.
Yeah, like our good dude in Twitch chat, Sir Scort, was saying more dudes wants instant gratification and less have the patience to stick with this type of game. And that's like really decently worded right there.
Okay.
Like hits it on the head.
So, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? When Rush got me into this game, we tried factional warfare for 2 days or 3 days, Rush, and I was terrible. I fucking hated it because I didn't understand the ship names and stuff like that. So like they were like, can we fight that? No. Can we fight this? No. Like, why can't we fight a worm with 3 Atrons? Like, I didn't understand why. And then so I was like, fuck this game. Like, and then someone in front of me invited us out there, and we were like, okay, let's go rat. And I got V&I ratting. We got really good. I started up a second account. I care bear for like a year, right? When I was at like 50 mil SP, I had made like a couple 100 billion, and I was fine. And then I was like, I have all this ISK. I'm gonna fucking whelp it. Like, I can always make more money. I'm just gonna go whelp. And that's how I started PvPing. And like, that's how I bet Otto and JJ, is I took a Stratios through Volt Space and I ganked their MTUs and scored. Like, I was killing like a dozen MTUs a night. And like, it got started from there. And then I started roaming their space. And then I just started seeing them more and more. And that's how my like PvP career started. I didn't start out PvPing. I hated the factional warfare. Like, because I thought I was like, oh, I'll never be able to fight anything. And then, but it took pretty much a year of crabbing for me then to become a PvPer, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you like are a 0-day-old player and run into a dude like me, you're gonna have a bad day, right? No matter what kind of fucking ship you're flying. That's just how it goes. But like, it would be possible to make it such that both of those things are kind of being encouraged, right? You don't like, it's difficult to quantify how much plex and profit to this game Lord Maldor brought with his things, right? It's not easy to calculate, but it's like, it's a good thing which they all did there. And like, same goes for the Rorcal mining. It's like two facets of the same thing, but they're all too safe and shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Care Bears are super fucking safe, and they're like back in the day you could at least anchor an SBU, and then the bears would come frothing at their mouths. They were like, "Oh, he's threatening our Care Bearing." But these you can't even do that, right? You can't. You just like sit there and that's it.
So what my example is, what I'm trying to say, take my example, right? You getting me into the game, right? You couldn't control what I would enjoy. We can't control what people are going to enjoy in the game, right? But if we just get a bunch of nerds, 100 nerds, and throw them at the wall, right? Some of them are going to become PvPers at some point. Like, right? Like, if you take a 100 pieces of crap and you throw them at the wall, some will stick. And so it's a numbers game, right? We cannot stop people from quitting the game. We can slow it, but we cannot stop people from, life happens, boredom happens, burnout, whatever happens, people will continually quit the game. But we have to make sure, like CCP has to make sure that they're getting people to play this game. And then if they can get people to play this game, great. Then you need people to stay playing this game. Like those are the kind of the basic issues. Like you need your numbers you want your numbers to grow. Right now we know that the numbers are stagnant, right? They've been stagnant for a couple of years, which is fine. At least it's not like going down.
Yes,
right?
but
Like at least we're not at 10,000 active players instead of where are we at, like 28,000 right now or something like that.
Yeah, wait,
Yeah,
let
no,
me
The scary
pull
part
it.
about that is that the numbers have stayed stagnant. We know people are getting more and more and more and more and more alt because of steel injectors. So how bad really is it? We don't even know. We just know
But then
we
you
just know
have
how many
people
active
like
subs there is.
Nax quit, right?
Yeah.
So Nax
Yeah, but to
took
be
like
fair-
55 accounts with them.
Yeah, I went
He's been-
from 100 accounts to 5 accounts personally. Over
Right.
100 accounts because the launcher just kept forgetting them, and every time he would forget one of my accounts, I would never log into it again.
But with Nax, he had been talking to me about quitting for I think the last year and a half, 2 years maybe. It's only now that he quit because he finally found a game that he enjoys more.
I think that what
I-
you guys all say is very true. And I don't necessarily disagree with anything you guys say, because what you guys said is most of what you guys are saying is based on the player base, and the player base is going to do what the player base does. Most of my argument and where I lie with all this is that CCP does very little to encourage small gang solo PvP or PvP period. They really
Yeah.
don't, unless it's a huge major null-sec bomb.
honestly, they do very little to encourage new people to join. Because look at those advertisements, look at those trailers. They might appeal to some current players that want more casual experience, that do not have time for to play too seriously. But like, what new player would those adverts like appeal to? Like, billions of ore mined every day. This is all the things you can do in Eve, and they show you trailer of somebody sitting on Undock. And honestly, that's when you compare it to trailers of other MMOs or other games in general, like, why would somebody who never heard about Eve before even bother after looking at that?
I mean, like, because the dude would have to pay money to Squiz to take print screens of the kill board, right? They're too shit to run their own kill board, thus can't, like, make such, adverts, right? It's like, you can take pictures of 1,000 ships exploding. When was the last time you saw 1,000 ships explode? Doesn't
What?
happen really often.
Every day on my stream, I blow up 1,000. No,
Of
of my own, I blow up 1,000 times. Let's clarify.
Self-destructing apox for insurance doesn't count, right?
Oh shit,
I
dude,
won't
my bad, bro.
say that- I won't say that the most I would expect from CCP, the most I would ever expect from CCP as far as like solo small gang is just to mention or like put out that like things like Spectre Fleet exist, or if like any MPSI entities, like make it known. Yeah, exposure to on those entities, and that's the only thing I would ever expect CCP to do, other than like when. So earlier, like Otto and I said, they balance around big fleet fights, but you can balance around solo small gang while not affecting the fleet fights, right? That was the big issue with the ECM changes. So balancing, like it comes back to balance issues, right? The balance issues, the balancing needs to happen, right? With mines to both of them. They can't ruin fleet fights, right? But they can't like ruin a ship for fleet fights, but they need to, if it's being oppressive in solo small gang, they should do something about it. Like, but
Yeah,
so
you're definitely right. I'd like to see them implement a system kind of similar to Abyss PvP, where new players and where players in general don't have to go through a PvE wall to get in and like fight each other, and like with ship limits and stuff. And I mean, I'm sure you could figure out a way to make it like a really healthy atmosphere for new players to go in and try and
You
kill
have
shit in
gates,
their
you go
Atron.
inside of it, and you collect loyalty points for it. Wait a minute, this sounds familiar.
No, because
I don't
it's
like it
it's
personally.
separated. It's closer to where Abyss PvP, where it's instanced. And I know a lot of people will be like, "Well, you're taking content out of the game," but like at the same time, then some dude doesn't have to roam all the way across space to go fight somebody. And like you can get new players in that way and make it
Wait,
part of the new player experience.
could we queue up for this system?
With our
I mean,
matchmaking.
Are you?
Man,
Are
that
you
was
is there matchmaking? What's my MMR start at?
Man,
Do we
that'd
have
be
MMR
dope as
resets?
fuck, legit. Like,
yeah,
there isn't
for
any. If we talk about the concept of stealing, quote unquote, stealing content from the game and sandbox and whatnot, that doesn't account for the dudes who would never even log in or plex their accounts, right? If like dudes have an option to go run shit instances for the care bearing and they're like somewhat running them, we can like dudes be for sure running it more if like the PvP instance was available and normal. But as it stands, you need to either run like some kind of strange gimmicky fits or whatnot. It's like nowhere near to being balanced or accessible or anything. There's like
I
great
also say, I
potential
gotta say to
there,
that
like,
as well. When you say people are saying, "Oh, we're gonna steal content," mate. There's gonna be content to steal in the fucking first place.
yeah, for
There's
real.
nothing.
To be fair,
Yeah.
I'm against anything that takes people out of null, high sec, low sec, or wormholes because, as people have mentioned, DTM mentioned it as well. Content is not enough in game already to split it between three other different parts. So you've got
Yeah,
the
but
high sec,
like-
null sec, low sec wormholes. You've also got the Abyss PvE, the Abyss PvP, and then you're going to add another PvP that's not
Well,
behind the PvE thing.
I
That's
would
taking
s-
more people out.
That
I would
doesn't account for the
say-
dudes who would never log in, right? There would be like a decent amount of dudes who would plex their accounts just to run that.
Well, this is my own thing, and this isn't a fully formed, I think, solid concept yet. So take it sort of with a grain of salt. I think a really good idea in doing this is making it to where the sort of assets that you take in, how you fit these ships has no real effect on the actual the EVE Online areas themselves, if that makes sense. So you don't like take assets out or put ISK in or anything like that. This is strictly a tool for engaging in fights. That's it. And I understand we talked about queues and MMR, and that's a whole thing, and I understand it. But at least then there's a tool that makes PvP, especially small gang solo PvP, a lot less punishing to learn, especially for new players, than it does for most other people. Especially like trying to roam right now in nullsec is very, and lowsec is just difficult right now. And I'd like to see tools and interesting ways to get that implemented. And still, Frank, what you said is correct. They still need to get people into the game, but I still think there are ways in game that they could encourage players and build systems so players could actually
That's the future.
Learn how to
That's what they're
PvP.
pushing. Their slave CCP are now pets, right? We need to remember that. They say woof woof, yes yes to Korea. Then like their slave owners are cracking the whip and pushing the instances.
But if
So
they're
we're
dogs,
now getting fucking the how would you say those PUBG style battle royale. That's the future, right? It's like only a matter of time before that shit's shoved down our throats. Like
yeah, but don't forget, if CCP is dog, Koreans just might eat them.
yeah, for real, that's also a legitimate possibility. It could be that I assume that those dudes know how to conduct additive operations, and if he spent $450 million to buy that thing, he wants at least same or more money back, right? So they're gonna get that money back no matter what. Then like the worst kind of nuclear option would be like to send in a dude to liquidate all the shit. But like maintaining even a healthy status and balancing that shit which can be balanced normally and like fixing all those caps and sinos and supers and the citadels and whatnot. That's all within reason, but the damage from the injectors has already been done. Right, that's GG for that.
Oh, feels good, man.
So it's gonna be a
Swoosh.
strange thing to do. Oh hey, Raid Boy, thanks for the subscription. Minor.
Yeah.
Here's that heart.
I think
Yeah.
we have exhausted our last free topic of being sad and mad and shit talking. So anyone has any closing words for the episode 2?
Thanks for the subscription. Fuck yeah.
The same as last time. Like, you know, the people watching this see that we bitched a lot about a lot of stuff. But it's important to remember that we're only bitching because we want the game to be better, right? We want the game
The only person who complains is the one who cares.
right. And you know, and like without this game, like, you know, obviously, like I probably would have never begun streaming, at least not like I did. So, you know, obviously I want to keep the game going. And
Another
Do
thing
you?
to point out.
Yeah, we're not being mopey shits just because we want to be mopey shits. We're doing this because we want the game to be better. We want the game to get better. We want to all enjoy it. We want the game to have some more fucking life in it. And just
Also-
not liking where things are going.
This is the opinion of currently active PvP streamers. We don't know everything about the game, but what we do know about the game, we care about enough to try and make it better. No matter how much we bitch about it.
Yep, for sure.
I guess my closing words are, dudes, undock. Don't give a fuck about your kill board, dude. Stop dropping supers on people. Go and docking something. Bring us a fight, dude. Even you miners, dude, come kick my ass, please, dude. Horkison, dude. HORKKISEN, dude. Come down there, kick my ass. 7 jumps from Jita. It's close. It's fucking close, dude. I'm ready to get my butt kicked. That all being said, dude, we're all stuck in this sucking shit sink together. Let's make it great.
Thanks, friends, for everything. This was awesome and greatly enjoyable. As we get more material, hopefully we can repeat that. Or
wait, what if one day we have no material? Like, what if
Then
Well,
that's
just
the
make it
end game
what
victory
if
condition.
Utopia happens?
The-
The game
then-
is balanced and we're all happy.
Then we
what do
have
do?
to dance and sing on stream.
No, we start
Yeah.
with
DTM
BTO
does it
games.
for all of us. We don't have to worry about that shit anymore.
Bro, if that happens, like, we'll just talk shit about the font being, like, 2 square or whatever.
But we will find something.
The font is out of date. You've been using it for 15 years. Come on, give me a new font.
Yeah,
What-
yeah.
Fucking anti-aliasing on my bitmap fonts? Jesus, what? Fuck that. But either way, this was second episode of Shittalking Stations. I know that we sorta repeated some points from previous episodes, because either the points become more prominent or because there was new material to talk about, or because those points are pointing us in the ass so hard that we just have to like yelp a bit every time we feel it. But anyway, thanks everyone for coming, for shit talking, for listening to us shit talking, and if you hated the show, go fuck yourself. Have a good night.
Thanks, friends. Have a good one.
Good night, guys.
Okay, my nerds, we did it. Fuck yeah. Thanks everyone for hanging out there. Thanks for your kind words and the awesome support and everything. Let's wrap this one up in a traditional way. Please write 1, 2, 3 in that Twitch chat if this was agreeable to spectate and entertaining and good. Otherwise, please ask specific question if you have. How often are we gonna be doing this? As JJ generates more content, like when he makes an agenda. Okay, I see a bunch of dudes writing 1, 2, 3. Thanks for the feedback, friends. Here's that heart. Oh, man. Oh, fuck yeah.
boy.
Thanks for the dang bits, MS Herao, my nerd. Let's swoosh that rifter. So the swooshing goes for the dang bits, but also for everyone because we're all good friends here. Swoosh. Fuck yeah, you can bring your Drake for sure, anyone can bring their Drake. Man, that's a bunch of 1, 2, 3s, legit. Usually we get that wall of 1, 2, 3s after a super difficult fight. So that'll mean that you're all decently happy and satisfied. That's good. My nerds. So this concludes our second stream today. So total today in stream for like, I don't know, 5 hours or whatnot, in 2 segments. You dudes, you're the best community in the universe. I greatly appreciate everyone hanging out there. Thanks for your kind words, for the awesome support, for the respected subscriptions and bits and the dank memes and everything. I don't even know what to say. You dudes are like awesome friends. We're gonna wrap it up at this point. I'm gonna swoosh our outro rifter, of course, right? So here comes the outro rifter swooshing. Swoosh. Like so. So the next one is gonna be when we get more material, right? So let's say tentatively in like 2 weeks, right? Or more, right? Who the fuck knows? Like at least that. I don't think there's gonna be enough drama and shit taking place that we can justify having it sooner, but if it is, we'll do it, right? I'm gonna spam some of that swooshing emotes in that Twitch chat, and then I'm gonna pull up a list of all the dudes who are streaming Eve. We need to find somebody to host. So who they got? Like, who's gonna continue streaming? I'd host Frank and DTM, but like, what are you dudes doing? Are you gonna continue streaming or what? What's the good word? DTM, Frank, are you there in that Twitch chat? Is DTM there? I think he was. He is still there. I can, yes, please. So he's gonna carry it. We're gonna host our buddy, right? So please enjoy DTM streaming. He's an awesome dude and runs a good stream, and I'm sure you'll enjoy his content. I'm gonna go chill the fuck out, take a shower, exercise, eat some food, be normal, and do those kinds of things. Tomorrow we'll schedule to be streaming somewhere in the afternoon. So if you want, please tune in there. And like, thanks once again for everything. I'm gonna awkwardly stare into that camera for a couple of seconds so it doesn't cut off the audio, and I'll see you all tomorrow, friends. You all be good.